Your stomach makes a small fist beneath your ribs. The email subject line is vague and sharp, like a tiny blade. Your breath goes shallow without asking permission. Your mind begins to storyboard disasters, the message you'll have to explain, the meeting that goes sideways, the late-night replaying of what-ifs that will steal sleep again. Your shoulders creep up toward your ears, jaw tight enough to hum. You scroll, you stall, you promise yourself you'll get a grip in a minute, and the minute slides by. You open 10 tabs and can't read one sentence. A text dings on top of it all, and your pulse jumps as if the floor shifted. Sound familiar? This is the spiral, automatic, sticky, fast. Here's the promise. In the next hour of listening and practice, you'll learn to reset your brain in under 60 seconds, so the moment stops controlling you and you begin to choose who you are inside it. Let's begin with what's happening under the hood. When a cue smells like threat, your amygdala grabs the steering wheel. Blood flow favors fight-flight systems, your prefrontal cortex dims, and your reticular activating system, the brain's bouncer, starts letting in only what confirms the danger. Negativity bias leans you toward worst-case frames because it kept your ancestors alive. None of this is a moral failure. It's a wiring default. The good news is that neuroplasticity doesn't retire. You can train the brain to route signals differently in real time, not with lectures, but with small, repeatable moves that give your prefrontal cortex oxygen and authority again. This is not about becoming a different person. It's about becoming the person you already are when you're not hijacked. The first tool is a foundation you'll keep for the whole book. I call it the Spiral Interrupt Protocol SIP. You sip back control in 3 moves: mark, breathe, name. Mark the moment you notice the pull. Breathe to tilt your chemistry. Name what's present to unblend from it. The steps are tiny by design. When your system is flooded, complex scripts fail. You'll practice SIP until it's a reflex you can run without thinking, like finding the light switch in your own house. Place one hand over your sternum and feel your shirt move against the skin. That's your anchor. The only place the past or future can't reach is the sensation that exists here. Inhale through the nose for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Do it again. 4, 4, 6. On the exhale, let your shoulders drop half a centimeter. The longer exhale tells your vagus nerve, stand down. That message steals back blood from the alarm system and gives it to the prefrontal cortex, the part of you that chooses. Keep your eyes soft. One more breath cycle. 4, 4, 6. If the mind tries to narrate, answer with a quiet sentence, I'm breathing to think better. You are not escaping the feeling, you are building a larger room for it. Now mark, say quietly inside a spiral, that phrase matters. It frames what's happening as a state, not an identity. States pass, identities stick. You are the awareness noticing the weather, not the weather itself. Next, name. Use this grammar exactly. I'm having the thought that I'm going to mess this up. I'm noticing a rush of heat in my cheeks. I'm sensing a tightness in my throat. That sentence stem adds just enough distance to prevent fusion. Instead of I am anxious, you have I'm noticing anxiety. Language is a steering wheel, turn gently. In a fluorescent conference room, Ava watched her boss scroll through a deck she had designed. A tiny click of the tongue, was it disappointment? Heat climbed Ava's neck. Her eyes tunneled toward the graph with the typo she fixed yesterday, certain it had resurrected. She felt the old spiral, defend, overtalk, apologize before being accused. This time she marked the moment, inside a spiral, her palm pressed flat on the table's edge, cool laminate under skin. 4, 4, 6. The first exhale was shaky, as if it hit a ridge and hopped. Second cycle, her shoulders loosened as if someone had turned a dial. I'm having the thought that she's about to call me careless. I'm noticing a rush in my chest. The graph slid past. The boss stopped at a slide Ava hadn't thought about and said, "Can we slow here? This is strong." Ava felt her face flush for a different reason. She asked one question instead of defending 12. The meeting ended early. With next steps, she could see clearly enough to write in 2 sentences. She hadn't become a different person. She had become herself again. Pause and let your jaw unclench. Can you feel the slight temperature difference between your inhalation and exhalation? That tiny sensory fact is a door. The spiral feeds on abstraction. Sensation interrupts it with the truth of now. Take one more slow 6-count exhale, not to relax but to gain range. This point is crucial. Calm is not the goal, capacity is. Sometimes the wise action is a firm boundary or a fast pivot, not a serene smile. SIP gives you access to the menu. Now we add a second framework that works like a lens. It's called the window widen method. When you're spiraling, your attentional window narrows so hard you can't see options. Widening your window means deliberately collecting 3 kinds of data: what's undeniably present, what's equally plausible but emotionally neutral, and what smallest action would move you 1 inch toward values. Think of it as borrowing perspective from your wiser self before the situation tells you who to be. You don't need a journal for this, but we'll embed a sentence you can later put on paper. Begin with what's undeniably present. Look around and name 5 facts without adjectives. Screen is on. Email says quick sync. Heart rate elevated. Left foot warmer than right. Coffee half full. Facts are settles. Your prefrontal cortex relaxes when it handles what it can verify. Now name 1 equally plausible, emotionally neutral interpretation. Quick sync could clarify scope, not criticize performance, or it could be administrative. The point is not optimism, the point is balance. Finally, choose the smallest wise action, tiny enough to do inside 60 seconds. Draft a clarifying question, reset posture, drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth to soften the breath. Forward 1-line item. This completes 1 pass through window widen. The effect isn't magic, it's math. Each pass adds 1 degree of freedom. Let's put the 2 together in a micro drill you can run in the real world. I call this the 90-second weather rule. For the next week, anytime you feel the tug, email tone, a memory, you'll run SIP for 3 breaths and then 1 pass of window widen. You'll set a mental timer for 90 seconds, the time it takes most emotion waves to crest if you don't add fuel. During the wave, you will not argue with the mind or try to solve your entire life. You will make 1 tiny move that aligns with who you mean to be. Send the clarifying question, close the extra tabs, step outside for 3 breaths, or write the sentence, "I'm having the thought that," in a notes app. This is not about willpower, it's about building grooves. Each repetition is a vote for a new default. Check in with your body again. The breath has changed, hasn't it? Even if slightly. Your chest might feel less like a fist and more like a hand loosening its grip. The skin at the back of your neck can sense air moving. If it's cool, name it. If it's warm, name it. There is power in saying simple things out loud. The amygdala listens to tone, not arguments. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you are responsible for. Steady, clear, specific. Let's address a concern your brain might raise. What if the spiral is about something real? Job risk, conflict with someone you love, a health scare? Of course it is sometimes. This is not about pretending storms are sunny. It's about staying big enough to navigate. When your prefrontal cortex comes online, your standards rise and your catastrophizing drops. The same situation looks different because you can see more of it. And when the fear is accurate, capacity still wins. You can act from the part of you that holds values, not from the part that only wants to end discomfort. Discomfort ends faster when it isn't your only goal. Another story, you're on the couch after dinner. The person you love is scrolling, laughing at something you're not part of. You reach for a question, but the old tape plays first. They don't care, your chest tightens, you become a prosecutor building a case out of every ignored dish and late reply. The spiral tells you to deliver the closing argument. Instead, you mark it. Inside a spiral, hand to chest. 4, 4, 6. I'm having the thought that I'm not important right now. I'm noticing a hollow feeling under my sternum about the size of a lemon. Window widen. Fact, 2 people, 1 phone, 1 couch, 9 p.m. Equally plausible frame. They are decompressing, not rejecting. Smallest wise action, ask for 5 minutes specifically. Can we talk for 5 minutes after this post? You feel the warmth of the cushion under your thigh. The air smells like dish soap. The world becomes real again. When the conversation happens, you speak from need, not accusation. The result isn't a rom-com, it's just honest and repairable. This is adulthood, not magic. Notice how often the spiral is fed by certainty. Your RAS searches for evidence that matches your first conclusion and discards the rest. You can hack the bouncer by asking one neutral question. What am I not seeing yet? The word yet tells your brain there's more data to collect. During your 90-second window, try that question once. You'll feel the mind pause and widen. It only takes 1 degree to miss the iceberg. If shame has crept in, why can't I get a grip? Meet it with the same tools. Shame is glue. It says you are wrong, not that something is wrong. That's why the sentence stem matters. I'm having the belief that I'm defective. Try saying it and hold your chest as if steadying a friend. 4, 4, 6. Then window widen. Fact, I just did a thing that didn't work. Equally plausible frame. I'm learning a new protocol under pressure. Smallest wise action. 1 apology that includes a plan or 1 boundary that protects a value. You are the awareness, not the emotion. Let that sentence land. You are the room, not the furniture. Here's your micro practice for today. Choose 1 cue you expect to meet, the morning inbox, the commute merge, the ping of a calendar alert. Pre-commit to the spiral interrupt protocol the first time you feel the tug. For 3 breaths, do nothing but mark, breathe, name. Then run a single window widen pass and pick the tiny action. If you forget and spiral anyway, your recovery plan is identical, just delayed. You don't lose points for remembering late. The brain learns from starts and restarts. Before we close this first chapter, breathe once more. 4, 4, 6. Feel the weight of your body where gravity holds you. If you can, sense your pulse in your fingertips or at the base of your throat. That signal has carried you through every crisis you've survived so far. You are not trying to become superhuman. You are practicing being human on purpose. The spiral will still visit. It just won't own the house. There's a reason we train with seconds and tiny moves. Every emergency responder knows that people don't rise to the occasion. They fall to the level of their training. You're building a level worth falling to. In the pages ahead, we'll wire in more tools, the stop switch, the 3-angle reframe, the reset ritual for mornings, the boundary breath for evenings. For now, you've got 2 anchors and 1 rule. Sip, window widen, 90 seconds. Repeat until your body trusts you to choose. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and you are learning to move as if that were true. You've just practiced stealing back 60 seconds. Now we'll turn that minute into a master switch you can reach in the dark. Think of this as the difference between fumbling for a lamp and flipping a wall switch you could find blindfolded. The tool is old, but we'll wire it with new science and a precise rhythm so it works under stress. I call it the stop switch. See, touch, orient, proceed. It's the moment-to-moment micro-protocol that keeps you from tumbling into the old gravity well. We'll pair it with the 3-angle reframe, a way to repoint your reticular activating system so it stops cherry-picking threat and starts collecting usable reality. One is a body-led interrupt, the other is a meaning reset. Together, they build a bridge from surge to choice. Start with C, not conceptually, visually. Your eyes are a dimmer for your nervous system. When you spiral, your gaze narrows and locks, tunneling on the problem. You'll reverse it on purpose. Pick one object in your periphery, then another, then a third, naming them without adjectives. Mug, window frame, blue pen. That act of visual scanning activates orienting circuits and signals safety. The amygdala listens to movement in your eyes the way it listens to exhale length. For the next 15 seconds, let your eyes move like you're gently searching for a friend in a quiet room, not like you're hunting a threat. Your shoulders notice this almost before your mind does. Now touch. This is the tactile anchor that prevents your thoughts from floating into abstraction. Press your thumb to the middle knuckle of your index finger until you feel a clean, specific pressure, not pain, precision. Or press your palms together as if warming them, then separate and notice the cool air flood in. Touch is pre-verbal. It speaks to circuits older than worry. Give yourself one breath, 4 in, 4 hold, 6 out, while staying with the exact feel of skin and air. If there's fabric against your forearm, notice its texture. If the floor is under your heel, sense its firmness. It may feel stupidly simple. It is. Simple survives a surge. Then orient. This is where we borrow from Search and Rescue. You say 3 facts that locate you in time, space, and choice. It's 9 words repeated with slight variation. It's day, I'm in place, and I can verb. It's Tuesday, I'm in the office, and I can ask one clarifying question. It's evening, I'm in the kitchen, and I can lower my voice. Your hippocampus, the memory mapper, calms when it knows where and when you are. Your prefrontal cortex perks up when you name a doable action. You're building a bridge out of the moment's fog. Only then proceed. Proceed does not mean fix everything. It means choose the smallest wise move that aligns with what matters. You've done this before, the email you send instead of the rant you deliver, the breath you take instead of the snack you don't even want, the let me think for 5 minutes that replaces a panicked yes. The brain is a prediction machine. When you demonstrate even 1 square inch of agency after a surge, it updates the model. We're not helpless. That update is worth gold. A story to place these steps in your bones. Julian managed a team spread across 3 time zones. The crisis started with a missed handoff and multiplied. Pings multiplied too. By noon, his chest felt like a bird was trapped inside it. He stared at numbers in a dashboard as if they were a foreign alphabet. Old script. Grip tighter, type faster, micromanage everyone, apologize later. He stood, which felt like an act of rebellion, and walked to the window. See. He let his eyes count the panes in the building across the street, 3 by 6 by 3. Touch. Thumb to knuckle, coolness of glass on forearm, breath slipping past his teeth on the long exhale. Orient. It's Thursday, I'm on the 10th floor and I can choose 1 lever. Proceed. He wrote a 6-sentence message. I'm pulling the deadline by 24 hours to protect quality. If this creates risk for you, reply here by 3 p.m. with specifics. We'll adjust. He sent it before the second guess came back. The trapped bird quieted. When replies arrived, there were 2 real risks and 6 imagined ones. He solved 2, and for the other 6, he let silence grow. His team shipped a day later with fewer bugs than any release in months. He didn't become a hero. He became a person who could hear himself think. Notice your breath right now. Does the inhale snag at the top, almost like a hiccup? Let the exhale lengthen by 1 count. Feel the chair under your thighs. If you're standing, feel your weight settle evenly across the balls of your feet. big toe to little toe. These are not details for decoration. They are switches. Every sensory detail you can name is one less watt fed into the spiral's generator. Now the three-angle reframe, the meaning reset you'll train until it feels as native as your first language. Angle 1 is positive plausible, not sugar, but a believable upside. Angle 2 is neutral concrete, the unembroidered facts you can write on a clipboard. Angle 3 is protective negative, the credible downside you'll pre-handle with a small plan. Why all three? Because your RAS listens to what you repeatedly ask it to find. If you only demand positives, it rebels. If you only feed it negatives, it obliges with tunnel vision. Triangulation gives your brain a map instead of a mood. Run it with something live. Imagine a message, need to talk, call when free. The spiral's version, catastrophe. Angle 1, positive plausible. This could be a quick alignment that saves me time. Angle 2, neutral concrete, no punctuation tone, sent at 2:17 p.m. from someone who often writes short. Angle 3, protective negative. If it's a critique, I'll ask for one example and one expectation, then summarize next steps. That's it. 3 angles, 1 minute. Your chemistry shifts. There's less adrenaline and more norepinephrine, the focus molecule that helps you take aim without being flooded. You have something to do, and it isn't flailing. Research sidebar, kept honest by utility. Your amygdala fires faster than your cortex can explain, but your cortex trains your amygdala over time. Each time you reframe with plausibility and plan, you reduce the error signal the next time a similar cue arrives. That's neuroplasticity applied to Tuesdays. No textbooks required, just reps. Try a microdrill I give every client for 7 days. It's called the Clipboard Minute. Once per day, preferably during a moment you would otherwise scroll, you'll grab any surface, paper, notes app, the back of an envelope, and run the 3-angle reframe on a small stressor. Write the 3 angles in 1 sentence each, then write 1 proceed move. You are not writing a diary entry, you're training a reflex. The brain loves patterns. Give it a pattern worth loving. Pause again. Let your tongue rest from the roof of your mouth. Feel how the inhale slips easier when the jaw loosens. The air has a taste, maybe coffee, maybe dust, maybe nothing. Name it anyway. The spiral feeds on vagueness, sensation feeds on specifics. Specifics win. You may wonder, isn't this all too slow for a real shootout day? Here's the twist. Practiced slowly, it becomes fast. Athletes rehearse the biomechanics of a swing at half speed so the motion is clean under pressure. You're doing the same with your attention and your breath. When the alarm hits, it will take less than a minute to see, touch, orient, proceed, and less than another minute to triangulate 3 angles. 2 minutes isn't delay, it's accuracy. Reaction is quick. Wisdom is on time. Let's apply both tools to a hard scene. You're walking into a performance review with a manager who tends to speak in broad strokes. Your stomach is a stone in a cloth bag. The hallway smells like old carpet cleaner. See, 3 ceiling tiles with mismatched specs, the nick on the wooden door frame, the silver circle of a thermostat. Touch, fingertip to ring finger, a press that says alive, not alarm, the fabric seam at your cuff under your thumb. Orient, it's the first week of the month, I'm in conference room B, and I can ask for specifics. Proceed. Decide now to request 1 example and 1 concrete target before negotiating anything. When the talk begins, run the 3-angle reframe silently after each vague comment. Positive plausible. This is an opening to sharpen expectations. Neutral concrete. They said visibility twice and proactive, once with no examples. Protective negative. If they stay abstract, I'll reflect back what I heard and propose measurable criteria. Your voice doesn't tremble, or if it does, it trembles while carrying a plan. That's courage with a steering wheel. A quick window into the biology of courage. When you predict you can handle a situation, your brain shifts from panic to challenge mode. The same heart rate can mean two different chemistries, threat or readiness. By naming specifics and small actions, you tilt your body toward readiness. Vagus tone improves, prefrontal cortex lights up, and your working memory stops dropping stitches. You become the person who can hold two truths: I'm activated and I'm capable. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and the awareness is choosing stance. Here's a home practice to set your baseline for the day. I call it the reset ritual. For 3 mornings, before opening anything that glows, you will run one cycle of stop and 1 3-angle reframe on the day ahead. Stand or sit, feet grounded. See 3 objects, touch 1 anchor, orient with the 9 words, proceed with 1 tiny move, maybe a calendar sweep or a single sentence you'll send that clears a snag. Then write 3 angles about your day, the plausible upside of 1 task, the neutral facts of your schedule, the protective plan for the likely snag. This is not manifestation, it's prefrontalization. You're putting the adult in charge before the day auditions other roles. In relationships, stop is a lifeline. Picture late evening, dishes stacked, a comment lands sideways. The spiral whispers that you're being taken for granted. Your chest tightens as if a belt has notches you didn't agree to. See the pattern on a plate, a drip of water sliding, the way light turns the faucet into a small lighthouse. Touch, palm to cool counter for 2 breaths. Orient, it's Wednesday, I'm in our kitchen, and I can speak to a need. Proceed, I want to feel like a team. Can we split the last 10 minutes together? Then the 3-angle reframe when the response is imperfect. Positive, plausible, they're tired, not rejecting. Neutral, concrete, they nodded and rinsed 2 plates. Protective, negative, if they drift, I'll calmly ask for 3 specific actions. The night doesn't need to be cinematic to be kind. You'll hit friction. Sometimes you won't remember to run any of this until after you've sent the message you regret. Then what? You use the same tools for repair. See the screen you just used, not to shame yourself but to anchor to now. Touch your chest, not as punishment, as care. Orient, it's still today, I'm still me, and I can send 1 repair note. Proceed, I spoke fast. Here's what I meant and here's what I'm doing next. Reframe, positive, plausible, repair builds trust. Neutral, concrete, I added blame in sentence 2. Protective, negative, if they're upset, I'll ask what impact it had and what repair would help. The spiral tells you mistakes are identity. The reset teaches you mistakes are data. Pause once more and notice temperature on your skin, perhaps the cool kiss of air on the soft skin inside your wrist, perhaps a warmth gathered where your sweater holds you. Your breathing may have slowed by a hair. Let it be. If the mind is asking, am I doing this right? Answer with a sentence you can keep. I'm practicing noticing and choosing. That's the whole game. The rest is reps. One last layer for today, the micro-commitment cue. Your brain loves starts. At the top of each hour you're awake, for just 1 day you'll take 10 seconds to look out and back, 1 object, 1 touch, 1 orient sentence, and then pick 1 next right step. Set a silent reminder if you want, or use natural cues like bathroom breaks or water refills. This is scaffolding, not a forever rule. After a week, you'll notice that the top of the hour arrives and your body reaches for the switch without being told. That's a nervous system learning a choreography. You will be tempted to measure success by how calm you feel. Try measuring by how cleanly you start again. Did you remember on the 3rd minute? That's skill. Did you catch yourself mid-spiral and choose a smaller wise action than before? That's progress. Did you orient and ask for specifics instead of reading minds? That's leadership at home and at work. The spiral wants you to chase a feeling. The reset wants you to build a habit. Habits hold when feelings wobble. Before we close this session, stand if you can or sit taller by a centimeter. Let your collarbones lift like a shelf settling level. Look at two corners of the room. Press thumb to knuckle. Say the 9 words, "It's today, I'm right here and I can choose." Feel what those words do to your insides. It may be a small clearing, like clouds parting for a coin of sun. It may be nothing yet. Either way, you've given your brain a map. Keep it, use it. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and you are installing a switch you can flip in the dark. You've learned to interrupt the spiral and reroute meaning. Now we'll go deeper to the seam where feelings are born. Most spirals start when two threads get knotted together so tightly you can't tell which is which. One thread is the raw signal from your body, heartbeat, muscle tension, temperature. The other is the story your mind wraps around the signal: danger, failure, rejection. Knot them and you spin. Separate them and you steer. The framework here is called the signal story split, or S3. You'll use it to pry apart sensation and interpretation in real time, then climb from overwhelm to workable clarity using a second tool, the emotional alchemy ladder. You don't need a therapist's couch to do this. You need 60 to 90 seconds, a few sentences, and the willingness to feel without drowning. Start by noticing how often a physical cue arrives first. Your stomach flips before your mind writes the headline. Your jaw hums before a single thought forms. That's interoception, your brain reading the body's dashboard. Under stress, the dashboard is noisy. The prefrontal cortex guesses fast, often wrong. The amygdala supplies old labels. The RAS filters for matches. Cortisol shifts your body's budget towards survival. None of this is a character flaw. It's wiring tuned for speed. S3 tells you to pause the label without pausing the feeling. You let the signal be true and the story be provisional. That's the lever. Try it now with something small but real. Maybe a payment reminder just arrived. You feel a cold pinch under the sternum, like air leaving a balloon too fast. Place a hand there, feel the temperature of your own skin. Whisper to yourself, signal only, flutter under sternum, breath shallow, throat narrow. That's it. Facts of the body. Then speak the provisional story with the stem that saves you. I'm having the story that I'm irresponsible. I'm having the story that this means I'll never catch up. You're not arguing, you're labeling it as a story. The brain hears the difference. The story loosens a quarter turn, enough to put a tool in the gap. In a cluttered studio apartment, Leo stared at a spinning beach ball on his laptop while a client waited on a video call. Heat rose behind his ears, the particular heat of embarrassment. His mind sprinted ahead. This client will leave, the review will tank, rent will be tight. His fingers went clumsy on the trackpad. Old habit was to mutter curses and pound the keys harder, as if that would change the physics of RAM. He caught himself, S3. Signal heat behind ears, heartbeat fast, breath stuck high in chest. Story, I'm having the story I look incompetent and will lose them. He did 1-4-4-6 breath with his mouth barely open, as if fogging glass. The client's thumbnail waited, patient. He named one more signal, tingling in hands. Then one more story. I'm having the story they're judging my whole business on this minute. That tiny distance gave him a choice. He said aloud with a steadying tone, my machine is lagging, give me 60 seconds to reopen the file. If it doesn't snap back, I'll email a PDF in 2. He closed 2 programs. The beach ball quit. The call moved. The client stayed. Later, Leo noticed something radical. The heat had been real, but not proof. Feel your feet or the weight of your hips. Notice temperature on your face, cooler on the cheeks, warmer along the upper lip where breath passes. Those details are neutral and immediate. They keep you from skyrocketing into invented futures. S3 is not an eraser for discomfort. It's a lens that decouples what your body reports from what your mind predicts. Body truth, pressure in chest. Mind guess, catastrophe. The guesses might be right later. They're just not your only teacher now. There's a second reason spirals grip hard: your body budget. If you're underslept, dehydrated, low on glucose, or overloaded with stimulants, your prediction system tilts toward threat. Think of your body budget like a bank account you can buffer. When funds are low, every minor fee feels like fraud. This is the body budget check, a one-sentence scan you'll run before you decide what a feeling means. You ask kindly and quickly: hungry, thirsty, tired, tense, still. If two or more light up, you tend the budget first. A few sips of water, a slow exhale set, a 3-minute walk, a high-protein snack. The spiral wants explanations. Your nervous system wants conditions that make wise explanations possible. Meet the condition, and the story often edits itself. S3 pairs with the emotional alchemy ladder, a way to move an emotion one rung at a time without faking sunshine. The rungs are 5 named stances you'll practice like scales: acknowledge, allow, aim, act, anchor. Acknowledge is the sentence of ownership without fusion: I'm feeling a surge of anxiety. Allow is granting it a short lease: this wave gets 90 seconds. It's allowed to be here while I breathe. Aim is pointing the energy: what matters here that this feeling can serve. Act is the smallest wise move aligned to that aim. Anchor is the sensory seal, one breath or touch that tells your body we're safe enough after the move. 5 rungs, 1 climb. The ladder doesn't ask you to be brave, it asks you to be specific. Let's run the ladder with S3 inside a common trigger, an ambiguous text from a friend that reads: "Can we talk later?" Your chest hollows out like someone removed a beam. S3 first. Signal: hollowness under ribs, cool fingers, breath clipping. Story: I'm having the story, they're upset with me. Body budget check: slept 6 hours, had coffee but no breakfast, shoulders high. Budget care: drink water, drop shoulders, 2-4-4-6 cycles. Now the ladder. Acknowledge, there's anxiety here. Allow: it has 90 seconds to crest while I breathe. It's not a problem to solve, it's a wave to watch. Aim: I care about this friendship and about speaking cleanly. Act: I'll send, yes, if you can share the topic so I can come prepared. Either way, I'm here. Anchor: thumb to knuckle, feel warmth, one exhale longer than you want. Your chemistry shifts from undefended panic to directed care. That's alchemy: same elements, better arrangement. Science in service to practice, not the other way around. Emotions are constructed predictions. Your brain uses past patterns plus current body signals to guess what's happening and what to do. By naming signals and stories separately, by tending the body budget, by climbing the ladder, you feed the prediction system fresh data. The amygdala stops screaming quite so loud. The prefrontal cortex regains thread control. The anterior cingulate, your conflict monitor, stops lighting up like a switchboard. You become available to yourself. Press your tongue softly against your molars and let it fall again. Feel the looseness at the hinge of your jaw when you do. The room has its own sounds: the hum from a light, the ghost of a refrigerator, a distant car. Naming one sound without judging, it gives you an extra inch of space. In that inch, you can choose. Another story, tighter to the bone. Mina had been called intense her whole life, a label that felt like a sticky note she couldn't peel off. She noticed teams went quiet when she spoke quickly in meetings, which she read as disapproval. Her response was to add more words faster. Spiral, predictable as gravity. After practicing S3 for a week, she walked into a product review. Two engineers glanced at each other when she asked for a timeline. Signal, heat flush at the collarbones, breath trapped in the upper chest, shoulders crawling toward ears. Story, I'm having the story, they think I'm unreasonable and this will confirm the old narrative. Body budget check, caffeine early, lunch late, spine locked in a chair all morning. She took a slow breath through her nose and let her shoulders drop one notch with the exhale. S3 again, then the ladder. Acknowledge there's anxiety and a dose of shame. Allow 90 seconds. Aim, clarity and partnership. Act, I'm noticing I'm speaking fast. Let me slow. Can you walk me through the blocker in 1 minute so I can help remove it? Anchor, fingertips pressed lightly to the underside of the table, feeling wood grain. The room softened. They named a dependency. She negotiated. The timeline moved 2 days. The label intense didn't evaporate, but it stopped being a sentence and started being a signal. I care, I'll channel it. You might feel resistance. Part of you might insist, I don't have time to do all these steps. That part is trying to protect you from embarrassment or defeat. Offer it math. S3 takes 15 seconds. The body budget check takes 5. The ladder can be a single sentence per rung. You can do all of it in under 2 minutes. Then ask a harder question. How much time does spiraling cost you now? How much repair? How much ruminating? You're not adding work. You're trading chaos for choreography. Here's a micro drill to burn S3 and the ladder into muscle memory. It's called the shower tile drill. Once per day for the next 5 days, pick a tile, a wall spot, or any small visual anchor in your bathroom or kitchen. While washing hands or brushing teeth, practice out loud in a whisper. 1 signal, 1 story, 5 rungs. Signal, tightness under ribs. Story, I'm having the story, I'm behind. Acknowledge anxiety. Allow 90 seconds. Aim, move 1 task. Act, send the 3-sentence email. Anchor, breath out. The tile becomes a cue. Later in the wild, your brain sees the metaphorical tile, a ping, a face, a calendar block, and the sequence starts running on its own. Take stock of your body again. Your shoulders might be a shade lower, your eyes a little less narrow. If there's a taste in your mouth, name it. Mint, coffee, nothing. If there's pressure where your back touches a chair, name that. The more threads you can name as threads, the less you'll be woven into the old cloth without consent. Let's apply the tools to a money worry, because nothing wakes up the nervous system like numbers with consequences. You open your banking app and the balance triggers a swoop in your gut, like an elevator dropping half a floor. S3, swoop in gut, breath gone thin, chest cool. Story, I'm having the story, I'm irresponsible and in danger. Body budget check, slept decently, no food yet, jaw clenched. Care, unclench, sip water, 1 slow exhale. Ladder, acknowledge fear. Allow fear gets 90 seconds. It's a signal I care about stability. Aim, build a plan that shrinks uncertainty. Act, list 3 non-negotiables and 1 expense to cut this week. Schedule a 30-minute budget review. Email a friend who's good with numbers to be a sounding board. Anchor, both feet flat, press toes into shoes, feel the floor push back. The numbers haven't changed. Your capacity has. From capacity, your plan is smaller and more likely to be executed. That's dignity in action. One more technique sits neatly inside these 2 tools, the 2-question intercept. Once you've split signal from story, you ask, what is this feeling trying to protect? And what value do I want to protect instead? Anxiety may be protecting your desire to not be blindsided. Anger may be protecting your need for respect. Then you choose the value-forward move. If respect is the value, the move might be a boundary stated calmly, not a raised voice. The intercept turns raw energy into direction without scolding yourself for having it. Notice your hands. Are they cool or warm? Turn one palm up. Gravity tugs at it the same whether you're spiraling or steady. That sameness is an ally. In a hurricane, sailors look for things that don't move. The mast, the compass, the stars. You have stars on your skin. Use them. A small anecdote from the quiet side of life. Late Sunday, soft rain ticking against a window, you're scrolling past other people's highlight reels. A slow sadness pools behind your eyes, heavy and shapeless, then grows opinions about your own life. You spot the moment like a hawk seeing movement in grass. S3, heaviness behind eyes, slow breath, shoulders sinking, story. I'm having the story I'm late to my own life. Budget check, dehydrated, needed a walk, too many hours indoors. Air drink, 2 laps around the block, notice the smell of wet earth. Ladder, acknowledge sadness, allow it can sit beside me for 90 seconds while I walk. Aim, reconnect with my own lane. Act, text one friend to plan a real conversation this week. Choose one tiny project for tomorrow's first hour. Anchor, pressure of shoe on asphalt, cool air on lips. The feeling doesn't vanish. It integrates. You're not berating yourself for being human. You're choosing how to be a human who feels. If shame shows up, why do I need all this just to function? Meet it with the ladder too. Acknowledge shame. Allow, it's here because I care about who I am. Aim, self-respect. Act, one sentence of self-support as if to a teammate. You're building new circuitry. Keep reps small and honest. Anchor, hand over heart. Feel the lift on inhale, the fall on exhale. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and the awareness is committed to your side. Your micro-practice for the next 24 hours is called 3 splits, 1 ladder. Choose 3 separate moments, morning, afternoon, evening, to run S3 once each time, even if the emotion is mild. For one of those moments, climb the 5 rungs. Keep it plain. Say it out loud if you can. If you forget and get swept, run it afterward as a replay. Replays still wire the brain. You're teaching your nervous system that you're paying attention and can be trusted. Before we close, feel the air on the thin skin inside your nostrils. Notice the slight cool on inhale, the soft warmth on exhale. Feel your weight held by the chair, the floor, something literal and loyal. That loyalty is present even when your mind insists you're alone. Truth. Your body is here, your breath is here, the room is here, and you are here. The stories will change. The signals will come and go. You are the space they move through. You're not trying to silence your feelings. You're learning to hear them accurately and respond from the part of you that holds the compass. S3, body budget. The emotional alchemy ladder. 2 minutes to separate, care, and climb. Not heroic, just human again. Keep practicing until the tools feel like the switch you reach for in the dark and find without looking. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and you're learning to move as if that were true. Today we stitch your tools into the landscape. You actually live in screens, rooms, pings, faces, so the spiral doesn't catch you by surprise. Up to now you've interrupted, reframed, and climbed. Now you'll predict and position. The framework is called the Trigger-to-Target Map, or TTM. You'll chart the tripwires that tend to tip you and pair each with a predecided tiny target move. The first wise action already chosen, so your brain isn't shopping for options with shaky hands. We'll pair TTM with a second tool, the RAS Spotlight Reset, or RSR, a 60-second ritual that trains your reticular activating system to look for what helps rather than what harms without veering into wishful thinking. These two together make your day feel less like a gauntlet and more like a course you can run with breath to spare. Start with TTM by listing 3 common tripwires across a normal week. Not hypotheticals, the real ones that visit you like weather, the vague email, the tone in a loved one's voice at 9 p.m., the calendar block labeled review that your chest reads as trial. For each tripwire, you'll choose a target move so small it would be hard not to do. That's the 5% nudge principle. If your body is flooded, asking for 100% is theater. Asking for 5% is training. Your map is nothing fancy. Tripwire right arrow target move. Slack ping after 6 p.m. right arrow 3 breaths plus will this matter next week? Once. Meeting goes abstract. Right arrow ask for one example and one outcome. Family text with a half joke that lands hard. Right arrow name signal plus one neutral question. The point is consistency. Your amygdala loves predictability. Give it a script you actually like. Feel your feet for a second. If you're barefoot, sense cool floor against the pads of your toes. If you're in shoes, notice the snug line where the laces cross. That detail is a calm fact. Calm facts don't argue with spirals, they drain them by redirecting energy into the present. Take 1-4-4-6 breath. Let the exhale be the one thing you commit to finishing. An anecdote to make the map live. Priya ran operations for a cafe that doubled as a community hub. Mornings could be poetry or panic depending on deliveries and staff show-ups. Her tripwires were predictable: a late supplier, a barista calling in sick, an online review posted at 7:05 a.m. that bled into the team chat. Before mapping, her habit was to sprint, fix, and fume. After mapping, she had 3 lines taped inside a cabinet door. Supplier late right arrow stop plus move 1 task off today. Coverage gap right arrow 3 calls, then 2-hour menu trim. Review right arrow 3 angle reframe plus noon reply template. The first week felt stilted, like reciting lines in a new language. The second week she caught herself halfway into a spiral, eyes tunneling, heart fluttering. She put a palm to the cool stainless steel of the espresso machine and said, "It's Thursday, we're in the cafe, and I can trim the menu." She did. They sold out of what remained. At noon, she wrote a measured response to the review with one concrete fix. One of her regulars read it and said, "That sounded like you." That was the point. She didn't become a different person. She became herself on purpose in a rush. Now fold in the RAS Spotlight Reset. Your RAS is the bouncer at the club of your attention. It lets in stimuli that match what you've told it to look for. When you spiral, you've implicitly told it, find threats. It will oblige and you will notice proof. RSR is a 1-minute redirect you'll run at natural breaks, just after you sit down, after a meeting ends, when you put your keys down at home. It's 3 lines spoken quietly or in your head. Line 1, what matters most in the next hour? Line 2, what would success look like in 1 sentence? Line 3, what's one cue I'll use to remember? Example, next hour focused draft. Success, 1 ugly but complete page. Cue, when I touch the mug, I breathe once and begin the next paragraph. You're not manifesting. You're programming the bouncer with specificity. Your brain starts highlighting what feeds the sentence and dimming what doesn't. Tune into the temperature of your breath at your upper lip, cooler coming in, warmer going out. That tiny difference is proof that your body is updating in real time, not stuck in yesterday's script. When you run RSR, you're creating a micro-contract with that real time. Here's the science made short and practical. The RAS is modulated by novelty, salience, and intent. Novelty grabs it by surprise, salience tells it what matters, intent steers it toward goals. When you ask the 3 RSR lines, you give salience and intent a handhold. Pair that with 1 sensory cue, the mug, the doorknob, the laptop lid, and novelty joins in. Your nervous system learns, oh, when my hand meets ceramic, we breathe and begin. Under stress, those couplings hold better than pep talks. The brain is a pattern-loving organism. You're feeding it patterns that serve you. Let's weld TTM and RSR into a morning that often unravels. You wake to a phone buzz you didn't ask for. Your chest compresses as if a strap tightened. Tripwire identified, uninvited input before you've chosen your stance. Target move, the 1-minute gate, RSR on the spot. Next hour, set my stance. Success, run 1 stop, 1-3 angle on the day. Cue, feet hit floor, you sit up. Feet find carpet, feel the fibers, slightly rough, insisting you're not a concept. See 3 objects, touch your sternum softly, orient with the 9 words. Proceed to the 3-angle reframe about your day's biggest task. Positive plausible, 1 conversation might clear 2 blocks. Neutral concrete, 2 meetings, 1 draft, 1 commute. Protective negative, if the draft stalls, I'll switch to an outline after 20 minutes. You've just started your day with decisions, not by being decided upon. A relationship scene, because those are where maps matter most. Your partner walks in quiet, eyes a little distant. Tripwire, you read distance as disapproval. Target move, S3+1 clean question. You feel the old heat start rising, that familiar blend of fear and a need to prove. You touch the countertop, it's cool, almost wet from a wiped cloth. Signal, heat in neck, shallow breath. Story, I'm having the story, I'm in trouble. You ask, is your quiet about me or your day? They exhale audibly, just my day. You nod, not to dismiss, but to ground. RSR quietly, next hour, teammate energy. Success, 1 check-in, 1 ask. Cue, when I hand over the glass of water. You hand it over. The evening shifts a few degrees toward the life you're building, not the ones you both inherited. You'll wonder, do I really need a map for something as simple as a text? When things are calm, no. When you're charged, yes. Think of TTM like a fire exit plan posted in a hallway you never look at, until smoke makes seeing hard. You're drafting routes while the hall is clear so you can crawl when it's not. Pause and listen to the room. There's likely a hum you normally edit out. It might be the low whir of air, a soft traffic line outside, a neighbor's distant footsteps. If your back meets a chair, feel the spot where the chair pushes and you push back. Small certainties feed large capacities. Let's talk about boundaries, because maps without edges are just pretty drawings. The tool here is the 1-breath boundary. It's a boundary you can state inside 1 breath, without explanation, resentment, or performance. It has 3 parts: no, not now, because I value X, and here S, what I can do. Example, not tonight, because I owe my morning a clear head, I can look at it at 10. Or no to that timeline, because quality matters. I can commit to Tuesday if we remove features A and B. You will feel a charge when you say it. That's your system updating to a new prediction. We can protect values and stay in connection. If the other person protests, you can repeat once, then move to a collaborative plan. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors with hinges that work. In a glass-walled conference room, Omar's team leader asked for a weekend push. The old Omar said yes, then resented everyone for 2 days. The new Omar ran RSR under the table. Next minute, protect energy without theatrics. Success, 1 clear sentence. Cue, fingers touch pen cap. He touched it and said, I can't do Saturday because I've promised my family that time. I can deliver by end of day Monday if we reduce scope. Silence. The leader looked surprised, then pragmatic. Okay, what drops? They cut 2 parts. Monday came, Omar delivered. He went home Friday and didn't rehearse imaginary arguments. That relief was not magic. It was a nervous system not bracing for self-betrayal. Sensory beat, notice the weight of your eyelids. Even open, they have a heaviness you can feel if you attend to it, like a curtain drawn a quarter way. Notice the coolness on your forearms compared to your upper arms if you're in short sleeves. These little comparisons keep you here where your tools are. You may hit skepticism. Mapping tripwires feels like admitting defeat. It's the opposite. You're admitting you're human and designing for it. Pilots don't expect turbulence never to happen. They expect it and train procedures. Your procedures are humane. They don't ask you to be stone. They ask you to be steady enough to steer. Another layer to TTM that will serve you, the tripwire stack. Sometimes you don't get one trigger, you get 3 in 5 minutes. When stacked, the brain makes a global judgment. Everything is bad and acts from there. Your map for stacks is one sentence you'll memorize. Stacked doesn't mean global. You'll then choose one target move from the stack and ignore the rest for 15 minutes. If your boss's tone, your inbox count, and a group chat all spike at once, you pick one lever that reduces load, mute the chat, or take one breath and write one email, or you take the pure physiology route, 3 slow exhales before any move. Then, only after that, you proceed to the next lever. Saving yourself from global judgments saves your day. We'll give your RAS another upgrade, the Witness and Win Micro Practice. Once per day, you'll write one sentence that starts with "I witnessed myself" and ends with "and I did tiny win. I witnessed myself tighten when the ping came, and I asked a clarifying question. I witnessed myself reach for sugar mid-spiral, and I drank water first." That sentence teaches your attention to look for agency. Over 2 weeks, your brain will start presenting you with more moments you can win by an inch. Inches accumulate. Take a breath and let it leave slower than it arrived. If your jaw tries to help, let it relax. If your shoulders want to hunch, give them permission to drop by a breadcrumb. Let's run a full case in the wild commute chaos. You're stuck in traffic. The estimate jumps by 12 minutes. Your chest buzzes like it swallowed a phone on vibrate. Tripwire, delay plus helplessness. Target move, 90-second weather rule plus 1 breath boundary with yourself. S3 first, tight jaw, heat on cheeks. Story, I'm having the story, this proves I never leave on time and everyone will judge me. Body budget check, dehydrated, you sip from a bottle. Ladder, acknowledge frustration, allow 90 seconds while you breathe, aim at preserving dignity, act by sending one honest ETA text with no apologies and one line of plan for the first 5 minutes when you arrive. Anchor by feeling the steering wheel's texture under your palms. RSR, next 15 minutes, arrive resourced. Success, breath steady, one song that calms, 3 exhale counts longer. Cue, red light. At the next red light, you lengthen the exhale, feeling ribs settle under your thumbs. You choose one song that brings your breath rate down by half a notch. You don't become zen, you become able. There will be days when the map feels like too much paper. On those days, reduce to one sentence you can carry in your mouth. Small, specific now. That's your whole protocol compressed. Tiny target move, named precisely, done in the next 60 seconds. Later, when your capacity returns, you can expand into your fuller choreography. For now, small, specific now is a rope you can hold. Consider a late-night example, the hour when spirals love to fish in the dark. You're in bed, the room cool on your cheeks, the sheet's edge tucked under your fingers. Thoughts begin to loop about a mistake from noon. TTM knows this tripwire, nighttime rumination. Target move, the 2-window rule. Window 1 is your mind, window 2 is a notepad. You give the thought a home outside your head. Write one line, ask Sam for clarification on Tuesday, propose 2 options. Then RSR for sleep. Next hour, rest. Success, body heavy, breath slow. Cue, feel the sheet on my ankles. You inhale, count 4, hold 4, exhale 6. You imagine setting the paper on a table that will still be there at sunrise. Your body believes you because you showed it a table, not an argument. Another story from the edges where life hurts. Carla had a parent in the hospital, the kind of weight that turns days into wet clay. Spirals were constant, worry about lab results, logistics with siblings, guilt about not working enough, guilt about working at all. TTM helped because decisions were pre-made. Dr. Call's right arrow 3-angle reframe plus 1 question. Sibling text phrase right arrow 1 breath boundary plus, can we decide by noon? Work expectation right arrow orient plus request humane deadline. RSR gave her a way to claim sanity in slices. Next hour, be with mom. Success, hold her hand, ask about the 1978 road trip. Cue chair squeak. In the chair, she felt vinyl under her palm, slightly sticky, and laughed when her mom told a story about getting lost on purpose. The labs were still the labs. The spiral had fewer places to anchor. Let's install one last micro drill that multiplies everything, the dot Q. Place a single colored dot, sticker, pen mark, whatever on 3 objects you touch daily: mug, laptop, door frame. Each dot stands for see, touch, orient. No words, no worksheet. The sight is the cue, the touch is the anchor, the orient is the bridge. This is environmental design for attention. When your environment participates in your protocols, your willpower can rest. Check your body one more time. Feel your spine stack, vertebra by vertebra, as if someone aligned a string from the crown of your head down through your tailbone. Feel the way your clothing moves when you breathe, a whisper against your ribs. That whisper is the body's way of telling you it's willing to work with you if you work with it. If you notice a voice peppering the edges with commentary, "This is silly, I should be stronger," thank it for trying to keep you from disappointment. Then give it a job. Notice one thing that went 1% better today. It will roll its eyes and do it anyway. Doubt can be an employee when given a clipboard. You are not building a life with no triggers. You are building a nervous system that expects them and knows where the exits are, a mind that can widen its window on command, a body that returns to you when called by name. TTM makes paths. RSR turns on lights along those paths. The 1 breath boundary keeps your values included in every map. The 5% nudge keeps your demands human. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and the awareness is now a cartographer with a good lamp. Tonight or tomorrow morning, write your first map. 3 tripwires, 3 target moves, 1 RSR you'll run at a set cue. Tape it somewhere unglamorous. Run it once even if the day is smooth, because smooth days are training grounds for rough ones. Then notice, with quiet pride, the inch of space you gain in a moment that used to own you. That inch is where your life re-enters your hands. Today we turn spirals into soil. Habits are how your nervous system predicts the future without asking permission. They are your brain's automation, built from repetition and reward. When a spiral owns your day, it usually hijacks a habit loop, cue, routine, reward, and swaps your wise routine for a frantic one. So we'll build loops on purpose and let them run when you're tired, busy, or tempted. The framework is the friction audit, followed by the 2-minute groove. First, you'll strip grit from the behaviors that help you, then you'll lay in ridiculously small starting moves that your body learns to crave. We'll pair this with a second tool, the focus fence, a way to protect 90-minute islands of deep work or deep rest without relying on willpower. Think of it as permaculture for attention. Arrange the environment so good behavior is the path of least resistance. Begin with the friction audit. Your brain is lazy in the noblest way. It conserves energy. If the wise behavior costs even a few more micro steps than the default wins when you're stressed. So you'll pick one domain, work focus, movement, sleep, or relationship repair, and you'll find and remove pebbles. The pebbles are tiny, earbuds always tangled, notes app buried 2 swipes deep, water bottle in the other room, apology call with no time box. Each pebble multiplies the chance of a spiral because it adds just enough effort to make avoidance feel reasonable. Remove the pebble and your future self thanks you by behaving. Pause and feel your breath under your collarbones. Notice the slight lift on inhale, the soft slide down on exhale. The air has a temperature, name it with a single word. Cool, warm, neutral. That one word is like WD-40 for your system. Sensation loosens the bolt. An anecdote to make the audit real. Sloan wrote code for a small startup and swore she had a motivation problem. Morning after morning, she'd sit down, open a browser to check one thing, and 40 minutes later she was neck-deep in documentation tabs, Slack threads, and a half-written message to herself about being broken. When she ran a friction audit, she found 4 pebbles. Her code editor wasn't the first thing that opened. Her headphones lived in a drawer. Her task list was in a different tool than her code. Her phone lived face up, lit like a lighthouse. She removed the pebbles in an hour on a Sunday. Editor auto-open. Headphones hung on a hook next to the chair. Task list moved into the editor's sidebar. Phone exiled to a shelf with a cheap analog timer beside it. Monday looked like a different life. She still felt the old tug, but the path of least resistance led to a commit, not a spiral. Motivation improved because friction dropped. Her brain hadn't needed pep talks. It needed an easier default. Now weave in the 2-minute groove. Your basal ganglia love completion. They fire dopamine not for finishing big projects, but for completing recognizable patterns. A groove is a pattern so small it's almost embarrassing, followed by a tiny reward your system can feel. You'll define the groove around something that reduces spirals. The first 2 minutes of a focus block, the first 2 minutes after a trigger, the first 2 minutes of bedtime. Name it so precisely you could shoot a film about it. Sit editor opens, timer set to 18, 1 sentence written, sip water, shoulders drop. That's a groove. Do it daily, even when you can't do more. Success is the groove, not the output. After a week, your body will start salivating for the pattern the way a runner's legs itch on a rest day. That itch is your nervous system begging for a familiar reset. Scan your hands. One is probably cooler than the other. If you're holding something, feel its edge, temperature, and weight. Precision is an antidote to vague dread. When you get precise with objects, your mind learns to get precise with actions. The focus fence is the habit architecture that defends a 90-minute island in your day. It's built from 4 posts: entrance ritual, single target, physical boundary, exit ritual. Entrance ritual is your 2-minute groove. Single target is 1 sentence that defines success for the block. Physical boundary is the thing that makes distraction annoying. Full screen app, phone in another room, door closed, do not disturb on, headphones with a specific playlist. Exit ritual is 2 minutes to summarize what you did and what's next, so you don't leak attention afterward. The fence works because it trains your RAS to see intrusion as a broken pattern, and bodies hate broken patterns. Under stress, the fence holds even when you don't feel heroic. Story from a life you'll recognize. Danny was a nurse working 12-hour shifts, then studying for certification on days off. Spirals hit on study days around minute 7, texts, dishes, a phantom need to check a warranty. She built a focus fence. Entrance, sit, 3, 4, 4, 6 breaths, write 1 ugly sentence summarizing the topic. Single target, 1 chapter's question bank. Boundary, phone in the hallway on a kitchen timer, door almost closed, noise cancelling on a playlist that sounded like rain on tin. Exit, 2 sentences in a notebook, what worked, what to do first next time. First week, she managed 40 minutes, then 65, then 90. On test day, she felt the old surge build, then noticed her fingers pressed together like they did at her desk, and she exhaled long. She wasn't calm, she was competent. She passed. Check your jaw, let the hinge hang a millimeter looser. Breathe and notice the exhale. If your shoulders have crept toward your ears, drop them half a notch. These are not manners, they're mechanics. Let's ground this in the brain without getting lost. Dopamine predicts rewards. It spikes not for pleasure itself, but for the moment your brain believes a reward is likely. When spirals win, they hijack that system by promising short-term relief. A scroll, a snack, a snap. You take the bait, get a small dopamine bump, then pay with guilt and scattered attention. The groove plus fence repoint dopamine toward preparations that serve you. The ritual becomes the reward. You feel a microlift when you set the timer, when you open the editor, when you finish the exit note. Your brain becomes addicted to your own architecture. That's not manipulation, that's craftsmanship. A second framework today sits inside relationships, where spirals find fuel in ambiguity. It's called the repeatable script. You'll carry it like a compass line for moments when your mood, their mood, and the day's pressure cook together. The script is 5 elements strung in one sentence, spoken in your tone, not mine. Acknowledgement of impact, short context without blame, clear ask, small offer, anchor word. I know I cut you off earlier, and I was running hot after the meeting. I want a restart on that topic, and I can go first with what I heard, okay. The anchor word is a soft period, okay right now deal, that tells your own nervous system the sentence is over and helps you breathe. Practice it in the shower. When the moment arrives, your mouth already knows the path. Repair kills spirals fast because shame has nothing to chew on when you move toward mending. Feel the fabric on your forearm or the air across your wrist. If you can catch your pulse at the base of your thumb, notice 3 beats. That rhythm has carried you through storms you've forgotten. Your body is not your enemy, it's your oldest teammate. Money, time, and food will try to steal your gains, so we'll add a micro tool, the 3-3-3 allocation. 3 blocks per day that you protect like a bodyguard, 90 minutes for focus, 30 minutes for logistics, 30 minutes for restoration. If 90 isn't possible, choose 60. The numbers matter less than the ritual. Before each block, run a 7-second RSR, next block aim, 1 sentence success, 1 cue. After each block, do the shortest exit ritual imaginable. Write what moved and the next smallest move. You're converting spirals into workload you can carry. When life explodes, you cut to 1-1-1, 1 task, 1 logistics action, 1 restorative act. That's your bare minimum choreography, the floor you fall to instead of a crater. A story from the edges of fatigue. Jai had twins and a product launch within the same winter. Sleep was a rumor. Spirals came for free. He wrote 111 on a sticky note and taped it to a light switch. Every morning he named 1 must-move task, 1 logistics act, 1 restorative minute. Must move, confirm API endpoint with vendor. Logistics, pay the daycare invoice. Restorative, 3 minutes on the floor with the babies, phones in a drawer. He missed as often as he hit. But the note kept him from global despair. When he did the 3, his nervous system learned that even in bad weather, he could steer. The launch shipped. The twins eventually slept. He looked back and realized the note had been a handrail in a stairwell when the lights were out. Take 1 slow exhale and feel the weight of your body where gravity says hello, hamstrings on the chair, feet on the floor, back against a cushion. Gravity is honest. It is the same on the day you ace the meeting and the day you fumble a sentence. Honesty is calming. We'll do a friction audit together in 60 seconds. Pick the habit that would shrink spirals most if it ran clean: morning stance, deep work, bedtime downshift, repair after a snippy comment. Name one pebble, move the object that causes it. Put the Notes app on the first screen. Coil your charging cable so it's easy to plug your phone in across the room. Pre-write the first sentence of tomorrow's task in tonight's exit ritual. Tape a template apology near your desk. The point isn't organization porn, it's automaticity. You are designing a nervous system that spends energy on meaning, not on logistics. Now layer in the 2-minute groove for bedtime, the hour spirals love. The groove is called the night slide. Lights dimmed, phone parked far enough to make reading it inconvenient. One page of a paper book or 1 minute of feet on floor while you breathe 4-4-6. Then a written line, future me, first move is. That line is your exit ritual from the day. It tells your hippocampus to store and your amygdala to stand down. When the loop starts, what if, why did I, you whisper, tiled thoughts live on paper and slide them onto a note. Your body learns, we sleep here. After a week, you'll feel sleepy earlier, not because you are virtuous, but because your melatonin isn't fighting blue light and rumination at once. An interlude inside the body. Taste your mouth. It might be coffee bitten, mint slick, or simply there. Run your tongue across the back of your teeth. Hear the faintest sound in the room and let it be. These micro-sensations are like handholds on a climbing wall. When the beat of panic arrives, you already know where to place your fingers. What about days when the spiral rides shotgun from waking to dinner? Then we use the noon reset. It's a ritual that forgives the morning and saves the afternoon. At noon, or at the midpoint of your day, you take 5 minutes to run sip once, window widen once, and write one sentence of target for the next 90 minutes. You drink a full glass of water, stand up, and walk to the farthest doorway you can see and back. You speak one sentence of identity out loud. I'm a person who starts again. Neuroplasticity is hungry for timing. Midday is prime because circadian rhythms give you a second wind. Offer your brain a steering wheel at the moment it wants one. Let's address a subtle spiral disguised as productivity, the tab tornado. You open resource A to help with task B, then resource C to help with A, and suddenly you're 15 doors away from the house you meant to enter. The tool is the doorframe question. Before you click, you ask, does this click serve the sentence? The sentence is your single target. If yes, proceed. If no, write the detour on a list called Later Doors. Later Doors is not a graveyard. It's a place where curiosity waits until your prefrontal cortex can host it. This single question has saved entire afternoons. It respects your curiosity without letting it move in and rearrange the furniture. Another story, this one in a kitchen on a school morning. Rena's teenager moved slow, her partner paced, the dog discovered a sock. Rena felt the strap tighten around her chest and heard the old script, you have to manage everyone. She ran a micro-focus fence called the breakfast box. Entrance, spoon in hand, 3 breaths, 1 sentence target, feed and send. Boundary, no school talk, no work talk, music on low, phone face down. Exit, we're out the door with a high five. She still hit snags. The dog still loved socks. But the morning turned from a court she managed into a room they shared. Spirals lost their favorite time slot. Check in with your spine again. Try lengthening it by 1 centimeter, as if your head were a helium balloon tied to a string that rises from your sternum. Feel the extra space between ribs. Breath can find that space like water finds a channel. You might wonder if building grooves and fences will make you rigid. They won't if you hold them lightly and use them to create room for play. Habits are not handcuffs, they are dance floors. When your basics run on rails, you have more free attention for surprise, humor, and serendipity. A nervous system that trusts its rituals is more willing to take creative risks because it knows how to come home. We'll close with a micro drill that glues everything you've learned so far into your day. It's called the 10-10-10. At the top of an hour you choose, you give yourself 10 breaths of stop, 10 minutes of focus fence on a single target, and 10 words of exit. The 10 words are literal. Moved the draft forward. Next is the outline after lunch. If you miss the hour, you do it at the next half hour. If you miss the day, you pick it up tomorrow. The 10-10-10 is momentum in a bottle. It's short enough to sneak past resistance and long enough to change your chemistry. You are not trying to bully yourself into excellence. You are arranging your life so that excellence arrives as a side effect of your routines. Friction audit, 2-minute groove, focus fence, repair-ready script, 3-3-3 allocation, noon reset, doorframe question, night slide, 10-10-10, not to turn you into a machine, but to let the human in you breathe in a world that loves to shove. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and the awareness is now a designer, building a home your nervous system wants to live in. Feel the chair, feel your breath. Name one object to your left and one to your right. Decide one groove to rehearse today, even badly. Then start, small and specific now, not later. Now is the only time that trains the brain. Today we take on the most relentless spiral engine you carry, the voice in your head that sounds like you but treats you like an intern you don't trust. When the inner critic runs the console, every tool you've learned works half as well. So we'll refit that voice, not by arguing with it, but by upgrading its job description. The framework is the Critic-to-Coach Switch, or CCS. You'll turn harsh commentary into actionable coaching in 3 moves so quick they can ride on a single breath. We'll pair CCS with the integrity loop, a tiny say-do feedback circuit that rebuilds self-trust in inches. When self-trust rises, spirals have less oxygen. You won't eliminate doubt, you'll make it useful. This is not about becoming soft, it's about becoming precise. First, meet the critic in daylight. Notice how it speaks in absolutes and identities, always, never, you are. It mistakes a missed deadline for a moral verdict, a stumble for a prophecy. That voice is ancient. It evolved to keep you in the tribe by scanning for what might get you exiled. It's not evil, it's untrained. CCS gives it a form to fill out instead of a megaphone to yell through. The 3 moves are label, leverage, and land. Label means you name the voice without fusing with it. I'm hearing the critic. Leverage means you extract the signal it's bungling. What skill or value is it trying to protect? Land means you translate the complaint into a coach's cue, no longer than 1 sentence that ends in a verb you can do in 60 seconds. Label separates. Leverage dignifies. Land directs. Try it on a fresh mistake. You sent an email with a wrong date. The critic arrives with steel-toed boots. You're sloppy. No one can rely on you. There you go again. CCS starts with a breath long on the exit, then label, I'm hearing the critic. Leverage, it's trying to protect reliability. Land, reply now with the corrected date and a 1-line fix. You type, correction on the date, Tuesday the 14th. I've added the calendar invite to prevent misses. Your body registers a small lift, as if a belt loosened a notch. This is the point. You didn't debate your worth. You moved your world 1 inch toward value. Place your palm over your chest and feel the heat of your own skin through fabric. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. As the breath leaves, whisper the label just once. I'm hearing the critic. Feel how the exhale makes room in your ribs for a sentence that helps, not harms. Your jaw may want to clench. Let it loosen by a millimeter. The air at your upper lip is cooler than your cheeks. That tiny truth steadies your attention long enough to land where it matters. A story from a fluorescent afternoon. Ren ran a small design shop. He presented a draft logo to a client who said, "It feels unfinished." Ren's stomach became a cold coin. His critics started dictating, "You rushed, you're a fraud, you wasted their time, fix everything tonight." He could feel his shoulders trying to rise into his ears, his breath climbing into his throat like a fugitive. He marked the moment, inside a spiral. Then CCS. Label, I'm hearing the critic. Leverage, it's protecting craftsmanship and reputation. Land, ask for 2 specifics and propose a 48-hour revision. He said, "Can you point to the 2 places that feel most unfinished? I'll revise by Thursday afternoon with options." The client named spacing and color weight. Ren wrote a single sentence in his notebook. "Adjust kerning by 2 points, test deeper teal." He felt the heat in his face cool from burn to warmth. He slept that night. He delivered 2 days later. The client signed. Ren noticed something else. The critic had been trying to keep him excellent, it just didn't know how to speak. Now the integrity loop, your quiet power source. Self-trust is not a feeling, it's an evidence trail. The integrity loop is 4 parts run in a circle so small it can fit inside a single hour. Decide, do, debrief, downshift. Decide is a 1-sentence commitment you can complete within the block. Do is the smallest wise action that fulfills it. Debrief is a 2-sentence check. What moved? What's the next smallest move? Downshift is 1 breath, 1 physical cue that tells your body closed loop, like placing a pen down or touching a door frame. Each closed loop is a deposit. Enough deposits and your nervous system stops treating your promises as threats. Spirals lose their favorite lever, the belief that you can't rely on you. Notice the chair under you, the way the cushion meets your hamstrings, or the way the floor presses back through your shoes. That pressure is not a metaphor. It's a place to stand while you train honesty with yourself. Many people run grand resolutions and small betrayals. You will reverse it. Small resolutions, faithfully kept. Integrity grows like muscle, stress applied, rest taken, fibers repaired stronger. Let's run both tools in a relationship snag where critics often masquerade as truth-tellers. You tell a friend you'll call at 6. At 6:20 you're still in a fog of tasks. The critic hisses, "So typical, you don't care, you're the flaky one." CCS catches the hiss. Label, critic. Leverage, it's protecting dependability. Land, text now with a clear new time and an ask. You write, "I ran over. Can I call you at 7:10? If not, I'll call tomorrow at lunch." Integrity loop kicks in. Decide, call at 7:10. Do set a 3-minute alarm for 7:07 and put the phone on the desk, screen down where your hand will find it. Debrief afterward, called, we're good. Next time block 10-minute buffer. Downshift, palm on chest, 1 long exhale, say closed. You don't need to make it a saga, you need to make it a loop. Taste your mouth. It may taste like coffee or mint or plain air. The room has a sound, maybe the hum of a light, a distant door, a car passing. Naming one sound shifts your nervous system toward orientation, the opposite of rumination. When you orient, your coach can be heard over the critic's noise. There's neuroscience behind CCS that matters only because it gives you leverage. Harsh self-talk spikes cortisol and reduces working memory. It narrows the attentional window you need to choose. Coaching language, specific, future-focused, verb-led, boosts norepinephrine and dopamine just enough to increase focus without flooding. You're creating a chemical environment where the prefrontal cortex can hold the wheel. You don't need a lab to prove it. You need 3 sentences and a breath. We'll add a companion tool that harmonizes with CCS, the Values North Star Check, or VNC. When the coach lands a cue, you hang it on a value so your nervous system knows why it matters. You ask a single question: which value is this move serving? Care, craft, courage, clarity, or connection? Naming the value tilts your reticular activating system to notice actions that align with it. If your coach says, "Ask for one example," and your North Star is clarity, your brain tags the act as meaningful and makes repetition more likely. Values make tiny moves feel like identity, not chores. In a sunlit kitchen, Jules and her partner Myra were circling the same tired argument about weekends. The critic in Jules said, "You're too much, you always ask for plans, you suffocate." She felt her chest tighten like it was being wrapped in cling film. CCS stepped in. Label, critic. Leverage, it's trying to protect harmony. Land, ask for one clear plan for Saturday morning in one gentle sentence. VNC, value is connection. She said, "Can we decide on the first 2 hours of Saturday and keep the rest loose? It helps me relax." Myra said, "Yes, walk at 9, coffee after." The argument, deprived of fuel, died a small death. They went for a walk. The morning smelled like wet leaves. Jules noticed the air cool on her forearms. Tiny sensory facts become tiny relational wins when the critic isn't driving. Check your breath again. Count a quiet 4 in, hold 4, 6 out. On the hold, imagine your coach selecting one verb from a shelf: ask, clarify, send, start, stop, stretch, drink, rest. On the exhale, do it or calendar it. The body trusts verbs. It doubts adjectives. Another story closer to failure than comfort. Matteo botched a presentation. He forgot a key metric. A competitor's name slipped out of his mouth. He saw a face in the back row do the micro-flinch executives think is invisible. The critic strapped him to a chair afterward and ran highlight reels of humiliation. That night he lay in bed, the room cool on his cheeks, the sheet rough on his ankles, the fan a steady whisper that did not match his thundering brain. He sat up. CCS. Label, critic. Leverage, protecting reputation and competence. Land, write a 3-sentence follow-up with the correct metric, then schedule a 30-minute review to harden that knowledge. Integrity loop. Decide, send by 9 a.m. Do, draft now, sleep, send at 9. Debrief after sending, handled the error, next time flashcards for the top 10 numbers. Downshift, closed, he slept. The critic tried again in the morning. Matteo pointed it to the sent email and the calendar block. The voice didn't vanish. It quieted, like a radio turned 2 clicks down. There's a trap to avoid: using CCS to bypass discomfort. Coaching doesn't mean coddling. Sometimes the coach's cue is hard. Apologize, renegotiate, decline, stop. The difference is tone. The critic insults, the coach instructs. If you feel the urge to punish yourself for motivation, look at your data. Has punishment produced reliable excellence, or a boom-and-bust cycle laced with avoidance? The integrity loop bets on small excellence collected often. It wins by not burning the player. Sensation check. The back of your neck can feel air, even if slight. If you soften your gaze and widen it, peripheral shapes appear: doorframe, plant, light edge. The spiral likes tunnel vision. You are practicing panorama. Panorama invites options. We'll add a micro-practice that speeds CCS into reflex. The 10-1 rephrase. For one day, each time you hear the critic, you immediately write or whisper one coach cue that's 10 words or fewer. You blew it becomes send a clean summary with one fix now. Your lazy becomes stand, sip water, set a 5-minute start. You always do this becomes ask what smallest wise action is next. 10 words forces precision and bans drama. Your RAS begins to expect verbs. Over time, you'll hear the critic and the coach at once, and the coach will get custody. Put 2 fingers to your pulse if you can, at the base of the thumb or the side of the neck. Count 5 beats. That rhythm is older than your opinions about yourself. Let it humble and steady you. You are practicing, not performing. Let's drop CCS and integrity into a week with too much reality. Your kid is sick. Your boss moved a deadline forward. Your body feels like a jacket one size too small. The critic says you're failing everyone. CCS says label critic, leverage, protecting care, land, write a 2-line note to your boss naming reality and proposing a scope change. Integrity loop runs a mini cycle. Decide, send before noon, do, write and breathe once, debrief, response received, new scope agreed, downshift, hand on the doorframe, whisper closed. You notice your shoulders release by a hair, you drink water, you take the kid's temperature. You are not heroic, you are accurate. Sometimes the critic hides in standards. Keep your standards, drop your scorn. The standards without scorn rule is simple. You can demand excellence of yourself only in sentences that include a method. Make it tighter becomes trim 2 sentences and swap passive verbs. Be proactive becomes send an agenda by 4 p.m. with 3 questions. If you can't name a method, you're not setting a standard. You're venting shame. CCS trains you to speak in methods. The integrity loop gives you the stage to execute them. Feel the weight of your tongue in your mouth. Let it settle. Feel the clothing on your collarbones. These are home coordinates. When the critic tries to exile you, return here. Home is sensation. From home, you can choose. A quiet evening anecdote. Hannah practiced piano after years away. When she stumbled, the critic leapt. Too late, too stiff, the hands you had are gone. She stopped, hands hovering over keys, the room smelling faintly of wood and citrus cleaner. CCS, label, critic, leverage, protecting artistry. Land, slow the passage to half speed 10 times, then once at tempo. Integrity loop. Decide, run the 10 and 1. Do, slow, 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 breath matching metronome. Debrief, fewer stumbles, next time start on bar 9. Downshift, close the lid with a soft click, whisper closed. She poured tea and noticed the mug's heat wring her palms. The critic didn't leave the house, but it moved to the guest room. The identity turn is the same one you've heard, now applied to your own voice. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and not the critic either. The critic is weather. The coach is weather with a compass. You are the sky that holds both and chooses which forecast to follow. Here's your micro practice for the next 24 hours. It's called Coach on the Breath. Every time you finish a long exhale, let a coach cue land on the empty space after the breath. 1 verb, 1 value. Ask clarifying question, clarity. Send clean correction, craft. Drink water, care. Step outside, courage. Text back, connection. The pairing makes action feel like identity, not homework. If you forget and the critic runs the last word, no problem. Exhale again. There's always another edge to land on. Before we close, stretch your fingers as if you're warming them by a small fire, then let them rest. Notice the faint pull along your forearms, the easy warmth that follows. Say quietly enough that only your nervous system hears you, I can be firm and kind with myself. Not as affirmation theater, as instruction. Firm enough to demand a method. Kind enough to keep the loop small. Repeat until your body believes the data you're feeding it. You're not trying to silence doubt. You're teaching doubt to put on work boots and carry tools. CCS, Integrity Loop, Values North Star, Standards Without Scorn, Coach on the Breath. These are not slogans, they are levers. Use them to pry space open in the hour you're in. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and you are becoming the person whose inner voice is finally on your side. Today we build immunity, not to stress, which you can't and shouldn't avoid, but to the subtle infections that turn stress into spirals. The culprits are familiar: comparison, noise, and overexposure. Your nervous system is a living creature. It needs doses, not floods. So we'll install two frameworks: the Attention Immunity Protocol, AIP, and the Comparison to Curiosity Flip, CCF. AIP is how you dose inputs, so your reticular activating system works for you instead of against you. CCF is how you turn the most corrosive spiral, why are they so far ahead, into fuel for skill and values. We'll stitch them with a physiology truth you can use: oscillation beats accumulation. Bodies are built for cycles of stress and recovery. Spirals are what happen when stress accumulates without the downbeat. Start with attention immunity. Think of your attention like skin. It protects, senses, and heals if you don't rub it raw. Every input is either sterile, neutral, or contaminated for your current aim. Sterile inputs help you act: the brief, the checklist, the example you'll model. Neutral inputs are harmless in tiny doses, but add up to abrasion. Contaminated inputs inflame your RAS and feed prediction errors, doom headlines, ambiguous social posts, group chats that ping without purpose. The protocol is simple and mechanical: gate, dose, rinse. Gate means you set one physical or software barrier between you and contaminated inputs during blocks that matter, not forever, just on purpose. Dose means you time-box neutral inputs in tiny, honest servings. Rinse means you clear the residue with a sensory wash and a single sentence that returns your RAS to target. Pause and feel air passing your upper lip, that cool-in, warm-out line you can almost taste. Name the texture under your fingertips: glass, cloth, wood. Your eyes can widen a fraction, taking in two corners of the room. These specifics are your rinse. They teach your attention to come home when called. Gate is where most people sabotage themselves by making it dramatic or moral. Skip the drama. A gate can be as humble as leaving your phone screen down behind you on a shelf, using a focus mode that only lets through emergency contacts, or writing on paper for the first 2 minutes of a block before the machine wakes up. During an AIP block, you treat contaminated inputs like raw chicken, handled with care, kept off the salad. Dose neutral inputs in a snack window: 5 minutes at the top of the hour, 3 swipes, 2 headlines, then out. Rinse with a breath and 1 sentence. Next 30, outline section 2. You are not trying to be a monk, you're trying to be a competent mammal. Story time, quick and close. Arman was a junior attorney prepping for a hearing. He loved being informed and hated the way 10 tabs made him feel like he was drowning in dictionary soup. AIP turned prep into intervals. Gate, laptop in full-screen dock, phone banished to a bookshelf where it still existed but couldn't touch him. Dose, every 40 minutes he earned a 5-minute news check in a single window. Rinse, stand, roll shoulders, run 1-4-4-6 breath, whisper the next micro-aim. The night before the hearing, he slept like a person who had stored their brain in a drawer labeled enough. He didn't win because his phone was far away. He won because his RAS was pointed like a flashlight, not a disco ball. Check your jaw and let it loosen a millimeter. Feel your shoulders drop a breadcrumb. Your chair or floor is reliable pressure. When your attention returns to contact points, it learns you have a home base. Spirals hate home bases, they want you floating. AIP's secret engine is the oscillation rule. The rule, work and rest in waves so the chemistry you build doesn't turn toxic. Stress hormones are not villains, they are fuel. In short bursts, norepinephrine sharpens focus, cortisol mobilizes energy, adrenaline gets you moving. Without oscillation, the levels don't clear and your brain starts predicting danger when there is none. You'll set micro-recoveries inside your blocks. A 20-second gaze shift to the far wall, 3 slow exhales, 1 sip of water while you feel its temperature track down your throat. That's not self-care fluff, it's waste management for your nervous system. You let the chemistry do its job and then leave. Now the comparison to curiosity flip. Comparison spirals are sticky because they blend identity with arithmetic. That person's launch, that person's body, that person's relationship, each data point becomes a verdict. The flip is 4 moves: spot, soften, study, steal. Spot means you name the exact comparison trigger and where you feel it. Photo from a conference, heat behind my eyes. Soften means one gentle sentence that deglues identity. I'm having the story I'm behind. Study means you ask one neutral question: what is the specific, observable skill or system here? Steal means you extract one element to prototype in your life within 48 hours. The flip doesn't ask you to pretend you're above envy. It turns envy into a syllabus. An afternoon scroll anecdote you've lived. Kira, between meetings, watched a peer post a polished thread announcing a partnership. Her stomach sank as if the floor moved. The story sprinted in, you're late, invisible, smaller. She spotted and softened. I'm having the story I'm behind, heat under sternum, breath high. Then she studied, what system is visible? She saw 3 elements: clarity of positioning, social proof, a call to action with a date. She stole one: write her own CTA for an upcoming webinar. Due by 5 p.m. 2 hours later, she had a decent first draft, not a partnership, but a step. The envy didn't vanish. It turned into gravity, pulling her forward instead of down. Feel the texture of your clothing on your forearms. Taste your mouth: coffee, mint, neutral. Hear a background hum you normally ignore. You're bathing your attention in present facts so the flip can land on a stable surface. There's science beneath CCF that earns your trust. Social comparison lights up regions linked to valuation and error prediction, the brain trying to compute status and safety. Left alone, that circuitry feeds RAS instructions to scan for rank threats. When you study and steal, you give those circuits a job: evaluate skills, not worth. Your prefrontal cortex writes a new query for the bouncer: show me how, not show me why I'm failing. The shift is small but biochemical. You feel it like a belt loosened a notch at the ribs. We'll anchor both frameworks in a setting where people drown: open offices and open browsers. Your tripwires here are ambient stress and ambient excellence. Everyone seems busy and brilliant. Your body reads danger. AIP first. Plot 2 90-minute islands with gates, doses, rinses. CCF inside the in-between. If you witness someone's neat solution or clean design, steal one element for a low-risk sandbox and schedule a 20-minute test, not a life overhaul. You are building a habit of turning threat into template. Another story, more domestic and tender. On a quiet Sunday, Malik watched his brother post a video of a backyard cookout with a laughing crowd. The sound of tongs clacking, smoke like a veil in the golden hour, a dozen easy smiles. Malik felt his apartment grow small around him. Spot, ache at the collarbones, eyes prickled. Soften, I'm having the story, I'm alone. Study, what do I actually want from the image? Not fame, not numbers. The visible systems were hosting and repetition, same time every month, simple menu, open invite. Steele, schedule a soup night for 3 people, first Wednesday, group text today with 2 options. He typed the text with hands that shook less by the 3rd sentence. When 2 yesies arrived, his apartment didn't enlarge by magic, his chest did. Notice temperature along your cheeks, cooler near the jaw, warmer closer to the nose where breath diffuses. That map of warmth and cool is a proof of life check. When comparison tries to make you a ghost in your own life, sensation returns you to a body. AIP has a cousin you can install in social use, the 3-lane feed. You assign lanes to your inputs like a highway. Learn, laugh, love. Learn accounts you copy skills from, laugh accounts that lighten your body, love accounts you know in real life. Before you scroll, you pick a lane, you follow or mute accordingly. Random lanes flood the engine, chosen lanes get you somewhere. At the end of 5 minutes, you rinse, name 1 sensation, speak 1 aim. If this seems obsessive, remember, you're already training your RAS by accident. AIP trains it on purpose. We need a boundary version for attention too, the boundary breath. It's a sentence on an exhale that draws a line around your focus without attacking anyone. I'm going to step out for 10 to finish this, and I'll be back at 30. Or I want to hear this, and I need 5 to gather my thoughts so I can respond well. The breath matters. You ride the exhale so your tone carries calm. People rarely fight boundaries spoken on an exhale with specifics. Your nervous system reads your own words and adjusts. Oh, we can choose our inputs. Sensation beat. Press thumb to ring finger and feel skin give and push back. The world is not only ideas, it's feedback loops made of touch and breath. Let's put AIP and CCF into a 90-minute creation block. Entrance ritual, 3, 4, 4, 6 breaths, stop, switch once. Gate, laptop in full screen, phone out of reach, notifications off. Aim sentence, draft the messy first half. Dose, 5-minute curiosity snack at minute 45, lane chosen as learn with a single purpose. Find 1 example of a strong opening. Rinse, stand, inhale, long exhale, whisper, second half. Curiosity finds an example. CCF flips comparison into a stolen structure. Notice the way a writer uses a question to open tension. You steal the question form and pour your content into it. No worship, no shame, just craft. Exit ritual, 2 sentences on what moved, 1 sentence on what's next. Your body ties a bow and stores the file under calm. A common objection, if I gate inputs, I'll miss something urgent. Reality, urgency can cross a gate. Use a whitelist. Put emergency names in your focus mode. Rehearse with your people. If it's urgent, call twice. That way your RAS relaxes. It doesn't have to monitor the whole world just in case. If you're in a role that requires being on call, oscillate with honesty. 10-minute checks punctuating 40-minute building blocks. Civilized systems beat heroic vigilance. A story from the border between work and home. Sierra worked in customer support. Her job trained her to be interruptible. Her life suffered for it. She tried AIP at home. A 30-30-30 after she shut the laptop. 30 minutes of restoration without input. Walk, shower, change clothes. 30 minutes of logistics, dishes, bills, small adulting tasks. With a podcast lane set to laugh. 30 minutes of presence with her partner. No screens within reach. Phone charging in the farthest outlet. CCF waited for the pangs when friends posted gym PRs. She stole the structure, consistency logs, not the numbers, and made a 3 times per week check box on the fridge. 2 weeks later, she reported an unfamiliar feeling at 8 p.m. Not pride, not calm exactly, room. Spirals need cramped rooms. She built windows. Check your spine. Lift the crown of your head as if a quiet string were tied there, then let the shoulders settle where gravity likes them. The air in the room has a smell, paper, dust, a hint of last meal. Name it once. The more often you name your environment, the harder it is for imaginary catastrophes to monopolize your screen. You'll need a micro tool for when comparison spikes into shame so fast it floods your words. Use the 30-word letter. You write a note to yourself or a teammate in 30 words maximum that includes one strength, one struggle, one next step. Strength, I show up on time. Struggle, I rush the first draft. Next, outline 5 bullets, then write. 30 words forces humility and action. Send it to yourself or, if appropriate, to a collaborator. Shame hates daylight. It thrives in silence and vagueness. Physiology break with purpose. The 20-second vision widen. Every 45 minutes, you step back from near work and soften your eyes to the horizon. If there's no window, imagine a far wall and let your gaze hover on nothing. Your oculomotor system tells your threat circuits, not hunting. Heart rate drops, your field of view expands, and you are less likely to make global conclusions about local problems. Oscillation again, you're not escaping, you're rinsing. Let's run AIP and CCF through a tough social moment, a friend's celebration dinner you can't attend. You see photos later, your chest pulls in like a drawstring tightened. Spot and soften, I'm having the story, I'm being forgotten. Pressure under ribs, study, what do I actually want? A feeling of belonging, not the restaurant itself. Steal, schedule a tiny connection with 2 people from that group this week. AIP, set a gate for the rest of the evening, no more scroll, dose, 5 minutes to send 2 individual texts, rinse, walk to the sink, feel the cool water on your hands, breathe 4-4-6 once, whisper home. You didn't defeat FOMO with superiority. You replaced it with belonging behaviors. Return to the identity turn, because without it all this just becomes nicer-looking control. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and not the input stream either. Inputs are weather. You choose whether to stand in the rain without a jacket. AIP is the jacket. CCF is the umbrella you tilt toward what matters. Oscillation is the rhythm you walk to, step and sway, work and rest, look and look away. Here's your micro practice for the next 24 hours, the 15-5-15. Pick one 90-minute stretch of your day and bracket it with attention care. For 15 minutes before, run AIP gate and a 2-minute sanctuary check. Where are you? What do you smell? What's your aim? During the block, allow yourself one 5-minute dose at the halfway mark with a chosen lane and a single question. For 15 minutes after, rinse with movement, walk to the farthest doorway, drink water slowly enough to feel the temperature, and write one 30-word letter to yourself about what moved and what's next. If comparison spikes at any point, CCF in 30 seconds. Spot, soften, study, steal. Sensation beat to close. Place both feet flat and press toes gently into the floor until you feel your arches wake up. Notice the floor push back. Put one hand on your sternum and one on your abdomen. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. On the exhale, say a sentence your nervous system can execute, small, specific now. Then execute the smallest, wise move your attention can carry without strain. You're not aiming for a noise-free life. You're training a noise-tolerant mind. Attention immunity protocol. Comparison to curiosity flip. Oscillation as a way of moving through a human day. You will forget and flood. You will remember and rinse. The muscle grows either way if you keep returning. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the selector, not the stream. Choose your inputs, flip your envy into method, and watch the room inside your chest gain square footage you can finally live in. Today we teach your brain to turn pressure into precision. Spirals thrive at thresholds, doorways into hard conversations, high-stakes tasks, new rooms with old ghosts. At thresholds, your nervous system wants a script. Without one, it looks for exit signs and finds none, so it runs. We'll install two frameworks that live exactly at those edges. The first is the Threshold to Tendency Map, TTM2, not the tripwires you already charted, but the signature where you tend to tip at beginnings, overpromise, understart, delay then sprint, please then resent, argue then apologize. You'll give each tendency a paired antidote you can trigger in 60 seconds. The second is the Future-Present Bridge, FPB, a practical way to borrow calm from the version of you who has already crossed this threshold, then return with one instruction. Together, they create initiation rituals that stop spirals at the door. Start with TTM2 by naming one threshold this week that reliably curls your stomach. The moment before you click Join Meeting, the first minute of a difficult call, the first keystroke on a blank page. Name your tendency there, be specific, almost unkind in accuracy but kind in tone. I inflate confidence and talk too fast. I wait for the perfect start and waste the window. I soften my ask until it disappears. Each tendency gets an antidote pair, a body move and a sentence. Overpromise, right arrow body, slow exhale until shoulders drop, sentence, one sentence, then one question. Understart, right arrow body, stand, touch doorframe, inhale for 4, sentence, ugly first line now. Disappear, ask, right arrow body, touch sternum, sentence, one clear request, one deadline. You post the pairs where your hand can find them, sticky note on laptop lid, 3 words on a watch face, a dot on a doorframe that means exhale, sentence, enter. You're not hoping to remember under heat, you're arranging to. Feel your breath skim the inside of your nostrils, cooler in, warmer out. Let your jaw unhook a millimeter. The fabric against your shoulder has a texture, cotton tooth, sweater weight, bare skin touched by air. These details are your launch pad. Initiation begins in sensation, not in speeches. A story at the edge of a door. Nia was a project lead who did her best self-sabotage in the first 30 seconds of meetings. Her tendency, preemptive apologizing disguised as context. Quickly, this is still rough, we didn't get full data, bear with me, and then she would talk at speed, trying to outrun imagined disappointment. Her TTM2 antidote pair was exhale plus question. She taped EFQ to her laptop hinge. Meeting begins, stomach doing tiny flips, tongue poised to sprint. She felt her throat cool on the exhale and dropped her shoulders by one breadcrumb. Then she said one sentence, then one question. Here's the baseline. Conversion is up 3% week over week. Which of these 2 levers do you want us to deepen? The room shifted from judgment to collaboration. She didn't become relaxed. She became exact. Oscillation applies at thresholds too. Your physiology wants a downbeat before an upstroke. Enter the 30-second tilt. Before you cross any threshold, you tilt chemistry toward choice with one micro-oscillation. Eyes to the far wall for 2 seconds, shoulders drop, 1-4-4-6 breath, one word for value, clarity, care, craft, courage, connection. You whisper the value on the exhale so your vagus nerve carries it into tone. Then you cross. Rituals tame rooms. Now build the future-present bridge. The FPB has 3 planks: project, probe, pull. Project means you picture yourself 90 minutes from now after doing the thing well enough, not perfect, just worked. You make it concrete, where you are, what you feel in your body, the single outcome that proves movement. Probe means you ask that future you for a one-sentence instruction. What did you do first? Pull means you obey that sentence for 60 seconds without negotiation. It might say, open the doc and write the ugliest intro, or ask for the agenda, or say the boundary in one breath. You are not summoning a mystical self. You're using your brain's predictive simulation to generate a map, then obeying its first line. The spiral is strong at the edge. FPB gives you a voice from the far side that already has traction. Try it with something live. You're about to call a client to renegotiate scope. Your chest feels like someone tightened a strap around the ribs. Project, see yourself 90 minutes later, sitting back in your chair, a glass sweating on the desk, 2 bullet points in a notes app. Removed feature X, new date set. Probe, what did we do first? The answer arrives simple: lead with value, then name the trade. Pull, you breathe out clarity, press thumb to knuckle and say, I want to protect quality and your launch. To do that, I'm proposing we drop feature X and commit to a Tuesday handoff. You stop on purpose to let silence help. You didn't seduce, you steered. Sensation check. Feel temperature along your forearms. If one hand is cooler than the other, name it. Notice a background sound, the dull rattle of air, a corridor footstep, and don't judge it. This practice keeps you in physical reality while you converse with imagined selves. It prevents the bridge from becoming fantasy. You will hit resistance from a part of you that says, I don't know future me, I barely know present me. That part is tired. Lower the bar. Your future doesn't need a cape, it needs one verb. The more ordinary the instruction, the more likely your nervous system can carry it. Predictions are conservative by nature. They like familiar paths. A familiar path that leads to value is a gift. We add a second layer to thresholds. The decision tree calm, DTC, spirals feast on undecided forks. DTC is a 90-second pre-build of 3 branches you can walk without drama. You write or whisper, if A, then ask for B, if C, then do D, if E, then pause and buy F time. Example for a performance conversation. If they offer vague critique, ask for one example and a measurable target. If they praise and pile work, say yes to 2 items and request prioritization. If they shift into blame, set a follow-up meeting and send a summary. You're not predicting content, you're pre-building dignity. In a sunless office with blue carpet that always smelled like new glue, Tayek faced a budget review with a director known for theatrics. His threshold tendency was freeze then please. His antidote pair, ground feet, one sentence ask. He ran FPB in the elevator. Future him felt lighter and had an email draft of recap plus next steps. The probe returned. Start with the constraint. DTC sat in his pocket. If shouted at, name numbers and ask for criteria. If interrupted, pause and ask to finish a sentence. If dismissed, request written feedback. Inside, the director did his show. Tayek felt heat climb his neck, named it silently, dropped his shoulders and said, we have X and Y headcount, which feature drops to hit Friday. The room snapped from theater to arithmetic. They dropped a feature. Tayek wrote the recap. He left with legs that felt useful, not wobbly. Pause and taste your mouth, coffee, mint, or simple air. The skin at the base of your neck can feel current, name cool or warm. You're tethering to the body while you run high cognition. Neurons love dual anchors. Thresholds appear at home too. The door after work is a threshold. The bed edge is a threshold. The moment before saying I'm sorry is a threshold. Use the one-step ritual. Pick one movement that signals a mode shift. Set keys in a bowl and touch the bowl's edge with intention, then inhale the house smell and say your value teammate. Or sit on bed edge, feet flat, palms on thighs, breathe once and say offload. Then write one line for tomorrow's first move so your mind doesn't drag the day into the night. Rituals make your body trust transitions. Here's a micro tool that binds FPB to your daily environment, the compass card. On a small card or a notes widget, write your 5 values: craft, clarity, care, courage, connection, then leave one line beneath each. Before a threshold, your future self drops a single verb under one value: craft, outline, clarity, ask, care, rest, courage, decline, connection, text. You carry the card to the door, your hand knows where it is, you pull the verb and obey. Over weeks, you find some verbs repeat. That repetition is your personal OS compiling. Let's broaden the lens with science so your skeptic feels fed. Initiation anxiety is prediction error. Your brain lacks a clear model for what exact first step will reduce uncertainty, so it flags the whole scene as risky. Rituals, paired sentences, and simple decision trees reduce prediction error. They give your anterior cingulate cortex, the conflict monitor, fewer unresolved flags, which frees working memory to actually do the thing. Long exhale extends parasympathetic tone, giving you access to prefrontal planning while arousal remains usable. Future simulation recruits default mode networks, but when you end in a concrete verb and execute, you anchor that simulation in motor circuits. Translation: imagine, verb, move. Sensation beat: press your palm to a cool surface, a desk, a wall, your own forearm, and feel temperature data enter your nervous system like clean water. It is factual, unarguable, steadying. If your chest is tight, label it. If your breath is high, let it fall a floor. Your awareness can hold both feeling and movement. A tender story, because thresholds are not only at work. Sam had avoided asking his father about a long-ago departure that shaped the family like wind shapes dunes. The threshold was a sentence's first 4 words. His tendency was detour, talk weather, sports, work, and leave with the important thing unsaid. He wrote an antidote pair, hand on mug heat, sentence, "Can I ask about 1999? FPB, he pictured sitting on a porch 90 minutes later, evening air a degree cooler, chest softer, even if the answer hurt. Probe, what did you do first? Pull, ask early, then listen. DTC, if dad deflects, reflect and ask again. If angry, say I'll try again another time and leave. If answering, stay quiet and breathe. He asked. His father's eyes watered, not from anger. A story came, messy, incomplete, human. Sam felt his own ribs make room. The threshold crossed. No spirals, just life. You'll need a repair tool for thresholds you blow. Call it the restart clause. It's a sentence you carry that lets you re-enter without shame theater. Let me restart that. Here's what I meant. Or I'm noticing my voice got fast. I want to say it cleaner. The clause is a hinge. Spirals love stuck doors. Hinges make retries ordinary. Feel your feet, press toes gently into the floor. Notice the floor push back. That pushback is ally energy. The world supports the weight you put on it. When panic lies and says it's all up to your thoughts, your feet disagree with physics. We add a micro drill that stacks confidence, the 3 opens. For 1 week, you'll deliberately practice 3 openings a day. A clean meeting open, 1 sentence aim, 1 question. A clean writing open, 1 ugly sentence you don't edit for 2 minutes. A clean relational open, 1 direct ask or appreciation. Record them quickly at day's end. Opened meeting, asked for example. opened draft, wrote nonsense, and kept going. Opened evening, said thank you for doing the dishes. Your RAS learns to treat beginnings as neutral terrain you can mark with your flag. Another story near the heart. Leela wanted to renegotiate weekend labor in her household. Her tendency at that threshold was armor, come in with a list and a tone that turned an ask into a verdict. Antidote pair, soften gaze, say the need in one breath. FPB, see herself 2 hours later, kitchen a little messy but mood easier, a whiteboard with 3 bullet points. Probe said, lead with appreciation, then ask. DTC gave her forks. If partner jokes, say I like jokes. I also need an answer. If deflects to you work less, say let's measure hours this week and decide Saturday. She exhaled connection and opened. I appreciate how you've carried mornings. I need help on Saturday laundry. Can we split it? A conversation, not a courtroom, followed. Threshold met without spiraling because her body wasn't staging a trial. It was crossing a bridge. Sensation beat. The skin inside your wrists is thin. If you lift your arm, air kisses it. If you put your hand on your chest, you can feel the drum. That drum is your oldest ritual. Honor it with one long exhale before a door. We'll finish by building a threshold kit you can carry in sentences. Write this on a card or in your head. Value, antidote, bridge verb, tree, a right arrow B, C right arrow D, E right arrow F, restart, let me try that again. Before a threshold, fill the blanks in 10 seconds. Value, clarity or care, antidote, exhale plus 1 sentence, 1 question. Bridge verb, ask, outline open, tree 3 forks with 1 move each. Restart, permission. Close your eyes, see your future self nodding once, not smiling, not lecturing, just nodding like a teammate who believes you can make the next move. Then make it. Spiral energy leaks when certainty about first moves arrives. Here's your practice for the next 24 hours. Pick one threshold you're guaranteed to meet. Maybe it's opening a doc, entering a tough conversation, or walking into a gym. Before you cross, run the 30-second tilt. Horizon eyes, shoulders drop, 446 value word. Fill your threshold kit line. Run FPB and obey the first verb for 60 seconds. If you wobble, use the restart clause. Then record 1 sentence at night. Threshold met, first verb was, result was. You will feel your chest widen by degrees, not because life got smaller, but because you did not hand the door to your fear. Before we close, look at 2 corners of the room. Press thumb to knuckle. Whisper the value you want to carry into your next doorway. Feel your breath leave and your ribs make space. That space is where thresholds stop being cliffs and start being steps. You are the awareness, not the emotion. You are the one who marks the door, crosses it, and chooses your first move on the other side. There's a moment after a miss, an awkward silence, a bounced email, a door closing with a soft click, when your body believes the story is over. That's when spirals feast, not during the hit, but in the half-light after it. Today we build what athletes and pilots swear by, recovery. Not rah-rah, not spin, but a choreography that makes slipping ordinary and restarting inevitable. We'll anchor it in 2 frameworks. The first is the slip-to-reset loop, or SRL, a 4-step sequence you can run in 3 minutes when momentum breaks so you don't turn a stumble into a slide. The second is the 4-room reset, or 4R, a way to step through body, task, relationship, and future in one calm circuit that restores bandwidth. You'll leave with a relapse plan that doesn't shame you for being human. The spiral hates prepared humans. SRL is simple enough to carry in your mouth. Spot, shrink, stitch, step. Spot is calling the slip by name without legal argument. Shrink is reducing the stage from my whole life to this 15-minute box. Stitch is one small action that closes the loop you ripped. Step is a ritualized move that tells your body you're back on the path. You'll learn the rhythm so deeply that when the miss arrives, your hands and breath start it without your permission. Feel your breath brushing the inside of your nostrils. Cooler in, warmer out. Notice the weight where your thighs meet the chair, the way fabric gently drags against skin when you shift a centimeter. That drag is a receipt. You're here. Spirals hate receipts. A story at the messy center of a Tuesday. Mara had promised a client a draft by noon. At 11:40 a side fire erupted. At 12:07 she stared at the clock with a stomach like wet cement. The spiral's script opened. You blew it, they'll leave, you always do this, why are you like this? Her fingers hovered over keys with no plan. SRL began because she'd rehearsed it. Spot, I missed the noon draft. Shrink, 15-minute box, triage and truth. Stitch, she wrote a 3-sentence email. I'm behind by 2 hours. I'm protecting quality and will deliver by 2:30. Here are the 3 bullets locked in. Step, she stood, took 1-4-4-6 breath facing the far wall and pressed her thumb to her knuckle as she sat back down. The client replied, thanks for the heads up, 2:30 works. The day didn't become heroic. It became salvageable. Mara's nervous system learned a priceless truth. A miss is not a biography. Here's the science we'll keep to 3 sentences and put to work. A slip triggers prediction error. Your brain floods the zone with alarm chemistry and global conclusions. SRL shrinks the prediction field, restores a closed loop, dopamine likes that, and replaces global shame with local action, which lifts prefrontal control. You feel it in your ribs like someone opened a window. Now the 4-room reset. Imagine your day as a small house you can walk through in under 3 minutes. Body, task, relationship, future. In the body room you run a physiology check, breath, posture, hydration. In the task room you pick the next smallest wise move and write it. In the relationship room you repair or request, 1 sentence, 1 boundary, or 1 appreciation. In the future room you put 1 stone down for tomorrow. A calendar block, a line that begins a plan, a laid-out shirt. You don't decorate, you sweep. 1 sweep, you're back. Taste your mouth, coffee sour, mint sweet, or plain. Hear the low hum under your environment soundtrack, a fridge, the outside, a fan. In the body room, you use these senses like switches. Name 1 sound, loosen jaw by a millimeter, drop shoulders a crumb, drink 3 swallows of water, and notice its temperature ride down your throat. You've just bought back 5 IQ points you can spend wisely. Let's run 4R through a post-argument fog. You snapped at a teammate. Your chest is tight, breath shallow, vision narrowed like a camera trying to fit the world inside a tube. Body, 2 cycles of 4-4-6, tongue dropping from the roof of your mouth, hand on sternum feeling fabric warmth. Task, write 1 sentence to move the dock they're waiting on. Relationship, send a repair line, I cut you off earlier, I'm sorry. Here's the dock moving now. Can we align at 4? Future, add a 5-minute block titled Post-Mortem, Triggers plus Guardrail. That block is a stone. Tomorrow's version of you won't have to guess where to stand. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and the awareness leaves breadcrumbs. Sensation beat. The skin inside your wrist is thin, the air cooler there. If you widen your gaze a fraction, 2 corners of the room appear. From corners, options arrive. Tunnel vision is spiral fertilizer. Panorama is spiral weed killer. Slip to reset loops work best when you pair them with a number, the rule of 1. After a slip, do 1 thing for 1 minute toward 1 value, that's it. Value might be craft, clarity, care, courage, or connection. 1 minute of craft could be writing the ugly sentence. 1 minute of care could be water and 3 breaths. 1 minute of connection could be a thinking of you text. Put rule of 1 at the top of SRL's step. Your body loves single digits. An anecdote in the 4 p.m. blues. Zed's energy always cratered mid-afternoon. A snack turned into a scroll, turned into a small shame storm. He installed SRL with a snack in mind. Spot, scroll, spiral beginning. Shrink, 15-minute box, snack with ritual. Stitch, plate an apple with peanut butter, no bag, no box. Step, while chewing, stand at the window and run the 20-second vision widen, soft eyes to the horizon, then whisper the next one-sentence target. He returned to his desk with the taste of peanut butter still present, a sentence in hand, and no shame debt to pay at night. Recovery is nutrition for decisions. We'll add an advanced move for days that stack slips. It's called the avalanche stopper. When 3 small misses pile in an hour, your brain tries to globalize, the day is ruined. The stopper is 1 spoken sentence and 1 symbolic act. Sentence, stakes are local, the day is not a verdict. Symbol, change state, wash your hands, swap a shirt, step outside for 60 seconds and feel air on your face. The symbol tells your nervous system a new chapter just started. Then 4R once. You will feel foolish the first few times, then you will feel sovereign. Check posture, spine an inch taller, collarbones like a shelf gently lifted. Let your exhale finish. The finish is where choice lives. The 4-room reset becomes potent when you tie each room to a micro-protocol. Body uses breath posture water. Task uses small, specific now, a single verb and a noun you can act on. Relationship uses repair, request, boundary in 1 line. Future uses stone, slot, 1 step and a calendar slot. Walk the rooms with those pairs and your reset becomes a minute-and-a-half practice you can run between meetings, after kid bedtime, or in a parking lot facing a complicated entrance. Another story, edged with grief because recovery must include pain you can't out-hustle. Elena's mother died in late spring. Productivity apps didn't touch the ache. Spirals gathered in the quiet between casseroles and condolences. 4R changed shape for grief. Body, daily 3-minute walk without headphones, naming 5 sensory facts. Task, 1 life maintenance item, bill, form, email, no more. Relationship, 1 reply that said, I appreciate you, no need to reply. Future, a calendar block in 3 weeks labeled check in with self, not fix. SRL ran on days when she cancelled plans. Spot, I cancelled again. Shrink, today only. Stitch, text 2 words. Rain, check. Step, hand on heart, long exhale. Grief didn't shrink, shame did. The spiral lost its bully when capacity, not cheerfulness, became the metric. Sensation beat. Press thumb to knuckle and feel the exact give of skin. That specificity drags your attention out of the fog. Let's make SRL run inside your tools. Write it as a text expansion or a note template. Spot, shrink, stitch, step. Populate it the first few times you use it. Over a week you'll see patterns. Maybe your stitch is often send the correction and your step is walk to doorway and back. Commit those to habit. When protocols are personal, they stick. Your critic will try to hijack SRL by turning Spot into a trial. Do not allow cross-examination. Spot is a headline, not a memoir. Missed workout. Snapped at Jordan. Late on draft. That's it. Save storytelling for debriefs when your chemistry is cooler. When you shrink the window to 15 minutes, you teach your brain that time is a tool, not a verdict. You're walking the dog is not walking you. Here's a physiology trick that makes step land, the dorsal drop. Many slips activate the upper chest only, you breathe like a fish out of water. Put 1 palm on your low belly, feel the gentle outward movement on inhale, and on exhale, imagine breath traveling down your spine to your tailbone. This widens your window of tolerance. Paired with a simple verb, send, ask, start, It returns you to agency without the theatrics of motivation. A domestic story at the end of a long day. Theo promised bedtime to his kid but got trapped in an email loop and walked in late. The look he received was a small arrow. Old spiral, overcompensate with gifts tomorrow, stew in guilt tonight, SRL cut in. Spot, missed bedtime, shrink, 15-minute box, be here now, stitch, read one short story now even if lights should be out. Step, hand on door frame, exhale, whisper connection, then enter. After in the future room, he set a 7:45 alarm titled Close Laptop for Bedtime. The next night, the alarm went off, his hand found the hinge, and he crossed the threshold with presence. Mrs. Still happened. Spirals didn't own the house. Sensation beat. Notice the air on your cheeks. It's a degree cooler than the rest of your face. Feel the chair's edge under your thighs. Precision disciplines panic. We'll install a micro drill that glues SRL and 4R into your day, the quarter turn. 4 times per day, wake midday, late afternoon, evening, you take 1 minute to walk 1 room or 1 SRL cycle. It's a maintenance schedule, not an emergency protocol. If you miss one, you don't chase, you catch the next. Over 10 days, your baseline steadies because recovery is not an event, it's a cadence. A note on identity, the lever under everything. When you run recovery, you also run an identity script. Most people carry, I'm the kind of person who loses the thread. You'll rewrite it with evidence. I'm the kind of person who starts again. Say it only after you perform 1 stitch. The behavior writes the sentence, not the other way around. Your nervous system is a scientist. Give it data. We'll add a companion tool for when a slip knocks confidence, the 2-file mind. Keep 2 documents or pages, evidence and experiments. Evidence holds 1 sentence wins, sent correction in 10 minutes. Repaired tone in meeting, ran 4R after argument. Experiments holds your next small bet. Try 2-minute groove at 9:00, boundary breath with manager, walk loop at noon. When your mind says you never change, open evidence. When it says you have no plan, open experiments. 2 files, not 1 story. Taste your mouth again. If it's dry, take a sip and actually feel the liquid's path. Press toes into the floor until you feel arches wake. Your body is a co-author of recovery. Bring it the pen. A rough day story at work. Jess botched a demo. The product hiccuped. The investor's face became polite stone. Afterward, the team slumped and Jess wanted to vanish. SRL first. Spot demo failed. Shrink 30-minute box. Repair plan. Stitch. Send recap with 2 fixes and a new demo date. Step stand. 3 exhales. Then slack the team with we'll run a full rehearsal Wednesday. Then 4R, body, water and shoulders down, task, outline test cases, relationship, thank the engineer who stepped in, future, calendar, post-mortem with T, no blame. The investor said yes to another demo. Jess slept. The spiral tried, the plan was louder. Your micro-practice for the next 24 hours is called 1 slip, 1 loop. Don't wait for a disaster. Pick 1 tiny deviation, a late start, a snippy text you almost sent, a micro-procrastination. Run SRL in under 3 minutes. Spot, shrink, stitch, step. Then walk 1 room of 4R, write a single sentence of evidence. That's it. Tiny and real beats, grand and imagined. Before we close, widen your eyes just enough to soften the edges of the world. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Whisper the value you want your next recovery to serve. Care, craft, clarity, courage, connection. Feel your ribs make space on the exhale. That space is the room recovery builds so your life can keep happening with you inside it. You are not trying to become a person who never slips. You are becoming a person who never lets a slip become a story about your worth. Slip to reset loop, 4-room reset, avalanche stopper, rule of 1, quarter turn, 2-file mind. These are not charms, they are tools. Use them the next time the silence after a miss tries to turn into a spiral. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and the awareness knows the way back. You've built switches for storms, bridges for thresholds, and loops for recovery. Today we harden the frame your choices live inside, so spirals can't quietly reclaim your calendar, your energy, or your word. This is the chapter where you stop negotiating with gravity. 2 frameworks will do the heavy lifting. The first is the boundary architecture blueprint. BAB, so your limits aren't a speech you give when tired, but a structure you live inside when clear. The second is the Energy Budget Ledger, EBL, a plain language way to track the costs and returns of your days so you stop spending capacity on proof and start investing it in what compounds. BAB decides what gets in, EBL decides what gets fed. Together, they change your week from reaction to design. Start with the boundary architecture blueprint. Most people treat boundaries like emergency barricades rolled out after damage. BAB makes them load-bearing walls you install ahead of time. The blueprint has 4 beams: purpose, perimeter, phrase, practice. Purpose is the why, what value the boundary serves. Perimeter is the where and when the specific context it applies to. Phrase is the one-breath sentence you'll use, rehearsed, unflavored by apology or edge. Practice is the repetition plan, where you'll put the sentence to work 3 times this week, on purpose, to teach your nervous system that safety and honesty can coexist. Let's draw one together. Purpose: protect deep work so craft improves. Perimeter: weekdays 9:10:30 a.m. headphones on, door almost closed, status set to building. Phrase: I'm heads down until 10:30 to protect quality, ping me then or add to our doc. Practice: use it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, even if no one asks for you. It's not drama, it's architecture. Your RAS learns that mornings belong to making. Others learn your rhythm. You're not prickly, you're predictable. Spirals are allergic to predictability that favors your values. Sensation beat. Notice your breath at the base of the throat, the place where inhale first touches and exhale leaves with a whisper. The room has a smell: paper, fabric, the ghost of coffee. Name it once. When you anchor to senses, you build pillars. Pillars hold phrases steady when your stomach flips. An anecdote from an open office with a manic calendar. Carla, operations lead you met earlier at the hospital, returned to work and fell into an old spiral of being available. Tickets pinged, her door knocked, her brain felt like an airport with every gate boarding at once. She drafted a BAB for 3 domains. Purpose: protect craft, protect evenings, protect dignity. Perimeter: morning build window, no slack after 6 p.m., 5-minute pause before any yes. Phrase: heads down till 11, I'll respond in the morning. I can do A by Tuesday or B today, choose one. Practice 3 reps each 1 week. The first, I'll respond in the morning, tasted like metal in her mouth. The second felt like water. The third became identity. I don't abandon future me to soothe present anxiety. Her team didn't revolt. They adjusted. Quality rose. Evenings returned. Spirals, deprived of overcommitment to feed on, had fewer openings. Boundary architecture isn't just for work. You design for intimacy too. Purpose: protect tenderness after 9 p.m. Perimeter, no conflict solving after lights out. Phrase: I care about this and I'm too cooked to do it justice. Can we schedule morning? Practice 3 nights. You will feel the urge to just finish it. BAB says the body budget is already red. Battles fought on overdraft charge double. The boundary doesn't minimize feeling. It protects the setting where feeling can be honored. Your nervous system likes proof. Give it a fast, tactile ritual called the hinge touch. When you state a boundary, touch a literal hinge, door frame, notebook spine, mug handle, and ride one long exhale. Hinge, breath, phrase. The tactile cue couples your words with parasympathetic tone so your voice carries steadiness, not spike. People don't only hear sentences, they hear chemistry. You're teaching your chemistry to back your language. Now we open the energy budget ledger. People get lost arguing with themselves about whether they are working hard enough. Ledger ends the argument. You will track only 2 columns, net draining 3, 2, 1, net neutral 0, and net restoring +1, +2, +3. Scores are not moral, they're metabolic. A 3 drains you for hours, a +3 restores you unusually fast. You'll mark entries by block, not by minute. 9, 10, 30 deep work, +2, 10, 30, 11 slack backlog, 1, noon walk, +2, 1, 2 conflict without clarity, 3, 3, 3, 30 stretch of admin, +1, 6, 7 cooking with music, +2, 9, 30 doom scroll in bed, 2. After 3 days, patterns glare. Ledger turns feelings into a map. Where to build a BAB wall, where to schedule oscillation, where to drop or redesign an activity, where to double down because it prints energy. Sensory check. Feel temperature along your forearms. One may be cooler. Tongue resting on the floor of your mouth softens the jaw. Your eyes can widen a fraction to see 2 corners of the room. These are small deposits in your ledger. They cost almost nothing and pay a little clarity each time. Short story from a week that looked normal and felt like drowning. Omar, the boundary breath guy, did EBL and discovered a silent killer. Quick checks were 1 hits that stacked into a 4 streak by noon. He also saw a surprise. Pair programming, which he thought exhausted him, came out +1 when he led with a prepared question. He built BAB around checks, purpose, protect, focus, perimeter only in 2 10-minute windows, phrase, I check messages at 20 and 50 if urgent, call twice. Practice run for 5 days. He moved pair sessions into early afternoon as a bridge out of the lunch slump. Ledger totals moved from net 6 days to net +3. The work didn't shrink. The chemistry changed. Spirals prefer 6 days, they can start anywhere and find fuel. +3 days starve them. EBL is effective because it speaks the brain's budgeting language. Your interoceptive network updates your body balance sheet constantly. If it predicts scarcity, it biases toward threat frames and short-term relief. Ledger entries give you counterfactuals. You prove to your prediction system that a 20-minute walk yields +2, that a 3-minute breath between calls turns a 2 into a 1, that 1 honest boundary is a +1 even when the conversation is hard. Prediction updates to, we can spend here, we recover there. Neuroeconomics for humans with calendars and cortisol. Sensation beat. Press thumb to middle knuckle, not hard, just enough to feel precise pressure. Feel fabric against your shoulder. These facts keep ledger and blueprint from turning into ideas without anchors. You are not a spreadsheet. You are a body writing 1 sentence at a time. Let's integrate BAB and EBL with a framework inside relationships. The no then yes formula, NTY. Most no spirals happen when you think no means rejection. NTY rewrites it as protection plus collaboration. It's 1 breath long and 3 beats, no to X, because I value Y, yes to Z I can do. No to Sunday work, because I value rest, yes to an early handoff Friday. No to talking tone on text, because I value nuance, yes to a 10-minute call after lunch. You'll log NTYs in your EBL. Most will show up as +1 or +2 even if the first beat feels hot. Then you pour NTY into BAB. It becomes the phrase that lives on the wall you built. Anecdote in a fluorescent hallway. May, a mid-level manager, was the team's unofficial shock absorber. Every quick favor bounced to her. Ledger showed a daily 5 from favors alone. BAB for favors, purpose, protect bandwidth and fairness, perimeter, requests received after 3 p.m., phrase, I can help tomorrow, today I'm at capacity. If it's urgent, tell me what drops. Practice 3 reps. She paired it with NTY in one-on-ones. No to picking up testing this week, because I'm protecting delivery. Yes to reviewing your test plan by 4 p.m. Thursday. The first week, she felt like a traitor to helpful. The second week, her team shipped on time and stayed later 2 nights without resentment because the work had edges. Her EBL went from a sludge of ones to blocks with contours and +2 anchors. Spirals had fewer seams to pry open. Pause and feel the breath slide along your upper lip. If your shoulders are trying to climb, drop them a breadcrumb. If your jaw wants to lock, loosen it a millimeter and notice the inhale grow rounder. These micro postures are how your phrases land like a steady hand, not a shove. It's time to codify your boundary phrases. Use the one-breath board. Write 5 BAB phrases that fit in 1 exhale. Not now, I'll respond at 10. I'm a no to that scope, yes to this part. I want to answer well, give me until morning. I can't tonight, I can do Tuesday. I'll need examples to act on that. Stick them where you can see them. Then run practice. Speak each one 3 times this week in low-stakes places. Muscle memory beats adrenaline memory. Your body learns where the edges of your house are before the storm asks. You may worry boundaries will make you rigid. They won't if you install doors. BAB includes a door called the exception window, 2 hours per week where you flex for humans you care about, on purpose, without debt. You log exceptions in EBL. If the ledger shows exceptions pay back in trust and +2s, keep them. If exceptions erode your week into a 6, shrink the window or raise the bar for what counts. Compassion with structure is better than compassion that burns you. Add a safeguard, the values audit, fast and seasonal. Each month, list your top 5 values: clarity, care, craft, courage, connection, and audit 1 boundary for each. Does it serve the value or masquerade as it? A care boundary that keeps you from ever telling the truth isn't care, it's comfort. A courage boundary that becomes a cudgel isn't courage, it's control. Adjust. BAB is a living set of walls. Houses need renovation. Sensation beat. The skin at your temples can sense air, faint and cool. Your palms have their own weather. One may be warm, the other cooler. Feel gravity through your heels. Your body's weather report makes your values audit honest. If a boundary leaves you tight and braced, revisit purpose and phrase. Boundaries should feel like a spine, not a fist. Let's run BAB and EBL through the thorniest arena. Family. You have a relative who texts with urgent tone about non-urgent topics. Old you replies in minutes, then resents for hours. BAB purpose, protect peace, perimeter texts after 8 p.m. phrase, I'll reply tomorrow. I turn my phone off after 8. Practice 3 nights. Pair with NTY when a request arrives. No to late night planning because I need rest. Yes to a call at noon. EBL captures the afterfeel, +2 for sleep and an intact morning, 1 for the moment of heat that passed. After 2 weeks, the urgent tone softens or clarifies. You didn't fix a person, you fixed the leak in your wall. Now bring money into the house because spirals love bills. Use the budget boundary, a BAB with numbers. Purpose, protect dignity and future you. Perimeter, spending categories, invoice timelines. Phrase, I invoice on Fridays, payment due net 14. That's out of budget. I'm a yes to option B within X practice. State numbers out loud, even alone. Your nervous system hears your voice normalize arithmetic. Shame can't hide in I'll figure it out later. EBL shows money decisions as chemistry. Negotiating cleanly is often +1. Avoiding until late is reliably 2. A story with a card table and a whiteboard. 3 founders, Tess, Priyanka, and Eli, kept promising just one more feature to land enterprise deals. Ledger showed a recurring 3 after each sales call and a weekend of 2 repairs. Bab turned into a release wall. Purpose, protect quality and sleep. Perimeter, no new features after code freeze Wednesday. Phrase, that's a great idea for Q3. This release is frozen for quality. Practice, say it every call for 2 weeks. They paired it with an EBL review every Friday. 2 weeks, 1 lost deal, 3-1, support tickets halved, a weekend with sunlight. Spirals lost their favorite back door just this once. Sensation beat. Place a hand on your sternum, feel fabric warmth. Breathe 4-4-6 once and listen for the soft click at the bottom of the exhale. That click is your green light to speak a phrase you wrote when calm. You are not improvising under flood, you are reading your own architecture. You'll need a micro-practice that binds BAB and EBL without ceremony. It's called the gate and grade. Before you start a block, set one gate, what's out, and after you end it, grade its energy 3 to +3. Gate, phone in drawer, grade +2. Gate, no email, grade 1, fix next time equals snack first. 10 gate and grades per week will give you more truth than a year of vague intentions. Patterns will beg for boundaries. You'll feel odd at first writing numbers next to feelings. Then you'll feel free. There's a hidden layer, boundary grief. When you build edges, you will mourn versions of you who survived by having none. Give them an exit ritual. Write a thank you note to the old pattern. Thank you, always available me, you kept us included. I'm building a new way now. Put the note in a drawer. That tenderness is a +2. Cruelty to old selves is a 3. Ledger will show you. A story at a kitchen table with a single lamp. Rowan, a teacher, took on every extra student request until her evenings dissolved. Ledger said 7 weeks. Bab cut into the pattern, purpose, protect, teaching joy. Perimeter, Wednesdays and Fridays, no extra help. Phrase, not available after school on Wed/Fry. Here are open times, practice, post, and enforce for a month. She added an NTY to chronic late papers. No credit for late after 2 days because I value fairness. Yes to 1 rewrite by Friday. Students grumbled for 5 days. Then learning improved. Her evenings came back. She cried once after school, boundary grief, and wrote the thank you note. The spiral that said, "You're only good if you overgive," lost its badge. Sensation beat. Look at 2 corners of the room. Press thumb to ring finger and feel the ridge of bone. Name 1 sound you'd normally ignore. These are floorboards. Boundaries without floors crack under load. Your micro drill for the next 24 hours is called 3 walls, 1 door. Write 3 BABs, 1 for focus, 1 for relationships, 1 for health. Each gets purpose, perimeter, phrase, practice. Then choose 1 exception, window your door, and schedule it. Finally, run gate and grade on 2 blocks and log the numbers. Don't optimize. Observe. Ledger first, tweak second. You are moving from arguing with days to accounting for them, from apologizing for needs to designing for them. Before we close, stand if you can, or sit a centimeter taller. Sense the weight of your body where gravity greets you. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Whisper 1 value you want your walls to protect: care, craft, clarity, courage, connection. Feel the word travel on breath into your chest like a small, warm coin. Architecture begins there, not on a whiteboard. You are not sealing yourself off from life. You are shaping the hallways so life moves with less scraping. BAB gives your nervous system trustworthy edges, EBL gives it honest numbers. NTY lets your no carry a yes that builds connection. Gate and grade turns days into data, data turns into dignity. Spirals will still knock. Houses with hinges and walls and ledgers don't fall on the first knock. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and now you are the architect and the accountant of a life that fits your values. Leadership, in the sense that matters here, is the art of regulating your own nervous system so other people have a chance to regulate theirs. Spirals are contagious, so is steadiness. You've learned to interrupt, reframe, climb, map, fence, coach, reset, and budget. Today you'll extend that mastery into the space between you and other people, the field, so your choices don't only protect your day, they improve the weather in the room. 2 frameworks will carry you. The first is the Calm Cascade Protocol, CCP, a way to shift group dynamics in under 3 minutes without theatrics. The second is your one-page operating system, 1POS, a living page that keeps your values, boundaries, and rhythms aligned when the week starts tilting. One is fieldwork, one is scaffolding. Together, they let you be a clear signal in noisy places. The Calm Cascade Protocol has 4 moves: anchor, align, invite, direct. Anchor is physiology, yours on purpose. Align is naming what's real so brains stop guessing. Invite is a simple question that distributes agency. Direct is the smallest next step that shrinks chaos. You don't advertise the protocol, you run it like a backstage crew switching sets between scenes. Most rooms don't lack motivation, they lack a place to put it. Feel the cool edge of air along your upper lip. Let your jaw soften by a millimeter. Notice the chair press your hamstrings, the exact weight where your clothes touch your skin. That's anchor. In a charged room, your nervous system is a radio tower. It broadcasts frequency more than words. Long exhale lengthens vagal tone, wide gaze signals, not hunting. You are not performing calm, you are producing metabolically usable safety. Align means you describe, briefly and concretely, what is happening without blame or spin. The anterior cingulate cortex, the conflict detector, hates ambiguity. When you name the facts, you reduce prediction errors in every head. We've got 10 minutes, 2 decisions, and 3 unresolved questions. We are both tired and it's after 9. Customer saw bug X. They're asking for why, no adjectives. When you do this, you can hear people's shoulders drop, even if you can't see them. Invite is a single question that gives the room a rail to grab. Which decision moves the most risk? Do you want comfort or solutions right now? What's the smallest cut that protects quality? Agency unfreezes energy. You're not playing teacher, you're handing out steering wheels. Direct is one small move stated in a sentence and tied to a value. Clarity first. Emma, name the metrics, then we'll choose. Care first. Let's pause this and pick it up at 8 tomorrow. Craft first. We ship Tuesday. Feature X drops. Direction is not domination. It's sparing a room the tax of indecision. A story you'll recognize because you've lived the shape. 2 teams in a glass box, numbers on a screen blinking like traffic lights you can't read. The air tastes like old coffee. The spiral wants to recruit everyone. You anchor 2, 4, 4, 6 breaths, eyes to the far wall, shoulders lowered, a breadcrumb. You align. We have 15 minutes and a rollback risk. We need 2 decisions. You invite. Which decision, if wrong, hurts most? Someone says, rollback procedure. You direct. Craft first. Diego read the checklist. Leila prepped the comms. Then decide on feature scope. The stress doesn't vanish. It finds channels. Afterwards, someone says, that felt like we had a flaw. Flaws are what your nervous system builds when you keep your own. Check your body. The skin inside your wrists feels air. Your tongue settled from the roof of your mouth lets the breath round out. There's a sound in the room you usually edit out, a fan, a hallway footstep, distant traffic. Name it once. That's you re-anchoring between moves so the cascade stays clean. The science is friendly to what you're doing. Humans co-regulate. Mirror systems read posture, voice tone, and breath rhythm. We borrow each other's predictions. When you widen your gaze and lengthen your exhale, other bodies adjust. When you name specifics, the hippocampus, the mapper calms because the terrain is labeled. When you ask a simple question, the prefrontal cortex gets a job instead of a threat. You're not manipulating, you're making the room runnable. Let's put CCP into a hard family moment. Dinner late, the tired kind of quiet. A comment lands wrong, heat flares behind your ears, someone's jaw tightens. Anchor palm to table edge, feel the cool laminate, one long exhale. A line, we're both stretched and it's late, I want us okay. Invite, do you want to vent or find a plan? Direct, care first, let's give this 10 minutes tomorrow at lunch and be on the same side. You are not avoiding. You're choosing a container that can hold both of you without cracks. Boundaries and compassion in one breath, that's adulthood. Feel the temperature difference between inhale and exhale again. Notice your shoulders. Gravity's steady hand is on them. Let it do a little more of the work. Now the one-page operating system. Life gets lost in 100 tabs. One POS is a single page you visit daily that decides the week's weather before the week decides you. 5 fields, each one sentence long. North Star, the value word that leads this week. Care, craft, clarity, courage, or connection. Big Stone, the single outcome that, if done, makes the week meaningful. Protectors, 3 guardrails you'll actually enforce. Morning build window, no conflict after 9, device on a shelf at dinner. Recovery, the oscillation you'll honor, walk, water, window, eyes, sleep ritual. Conversations, the 2 talks you'll start or continue so relationships don't become the place spirals hide. That's the page. It's not a to-do list, it's a stance. You will be tempted to decorate it. Don't. Write it so plainly attired you can read it and move. North Star, craft, Big Stone, draft, chapter 3, ugly. Protectors, 9, 10, 30, build, 5-minute pause before yes, no slack after 6. Recovery, walk after lunch, 20-second vision, widen each hour, night slide. Conversations, ask for scope, apologize for tone. You then align each day with one sentence, today's single target. RAS hears the page and filters your world accordingly. You feel more like a driver than a passenger. Sensation beat. Look at 2 corners of your room. Press your thumb to the middle knuckle of your index finger until you feel clean pressure. Let one breath be longer than you thought you had time for. The body is the page your mind writes on. An anecdote in a week that would have eaten you alive 6 months ago. You walk into Monday with 3 live fires, a demanding client, a family commitment, and a body that keeps asking for sleep. 1 POS says North Star, clarity, Big Stone, get phase 1 plan signed by Thursday. Protectors, morning build, 1 breath boundary, noon reset. Recovery, 10, 10, 10 twice, water bottle in sight. Conversations, ask for criteria, set expectation at home for Wednesday. CCP runs in every room it needs to. Meetings feel shorter because you align faster. Evenings sting less because the boundary breath pairs with a phrase you rehearsed. By Friday, the Big Stone is signed. 1 conversation moved your household 3 degrees easier, and your ledger shows more +2s than 2s. You didn't work less. You worked inside a frame that didn't require adrenaline to hold it up. Your nervous system loves rhythms with doors. Pair one POS with a weekly open and weekly close. On Sunday evening or Monday morning, you open 2446 breaths, write the page, send one email that reduces uncertainty for future you. On Friday, you close, log 3 sentences of evidence, move one loose thread to next week's big stone if needed, run a 90-second gratitude in shadow, name one hard thing that trained you. Closures keep spirals from surviving the weekend by hiding under your bed. A story in fluorescent light with stale snacks. Team Retro, the vibe is polite blame. You run CCP quietly. Anchor, sit back a centimeter, exhale long enough that your belly moves. Align, 2 misses and 1 win. We said we'd surface 1 root cause and 1 test. Invite, do we want to pick the riskiest miss or the most fixable? Direct. Craft first. We'll test the new handoff checklist for 2 weeks. Then you log it in one pose under conversations for next week. Follow up on handoff. Rooms change when the person who doesn't reach for blame reaches for clarity out loud. Pause, sense the air on your cheeks. It's cooler than your neck. If you unclench your tongue from your palate, the breath comes easier. Tiny mechanics, huge leverage. We'll add a companion tool that brings your growth into the room without sermons. The S4 share, signal, story, strategy, share. When stakes are human, you can model psychological safety by narrating your internal switchboard in clean lines. Signal, my chest is tight. Story, I'm having the thought we'll miss. Strategy, let's decide scope now. Share, I'm open to a better move. You don't overexpose, you show enough of the gears that other people can bring theirs. Teams where S4 is possible spiral less, because there is less pretending and less mind reading. Science cameo, kept short. Psychological safety lowers cortisol and raises learning behavior. Safety here doesn't mean softness, it means an environment where error can be named precisely and repaired fast. When you narrate S4, you give permission to switch from social defense to joint problem solving. Cortical blood flow follows permission. A domestic story, lights dim, dishes stacked. Your partner sighs like a weather front and you feel the belt tighten around your chest. You run CCP small. Anchor, palm on the cool counter, 1 long exhale. Align, I'm reading your sighs heavy, I care. Invite, do you want to unload or just sit with me? Direct, connection first, I'll make tea, we can be quiet. Later, when there is room, you use S4. Signal, I get tense at that sigh. Story, I hear I failed. Strategy, next time I'll ask which lane you're in. Share, if you can, tell me just tired or need help. Spirals need mystery to multiply. You and yours are replacing mystery with mechanics. Check in with your spine. Lengthen it by a centimeter, crown gently toward the ceiling. Let your shoulders settle down 1 step. Feel the bottom of your exhale. That's where your sentences can land without wobble. You might wonder if you're becoming a walking protocol instead of a person. The opposite is happening. Protocols hold the floor so your humanity can show up without constantly firefighting. When rooms feel safer, people bring jokes, stories, and risk. Craft improves because fear is bad at fine motor skills. You're not scripting life. You're adding enough choreography that improvisation feels safe. We'll give you a micro practice that wires leadership into muscle, the 90-second room reset. Anytime you enter a charged space, meeting, kitchen, inbox, you run anchor for 2 breaths, align with 1 sentence of reality, invite with 1 question, direct with 1 smallest next step. You can do it in front of people or under your breath. 12 resets in a week and your baseline changes. Other humans start predicting you as steady. Your body loves being predictable to other bodies. It reduces social threat cues and frees working memory. An anecdote with fluorescent lights and a printer that whines. A junior teammate tangles their words presenting. You feel the group's temperature rise. The spiral wants a scapegoat. Anchor silently. Align out loud. We're all learning. The point is the bug path. Invite. What's the single place you're unsure? Let's look there. Direct. Clarity first. We'll pair on this for 20 minutes after. For now, mark it unknown and keep going. Later, you run the integrity loop with them privately, not as performance. They leave taller. The room learned more than a bug. It learned how to treat a human. Sensation beat. Press your thumb to your ring finger. Feel skin give and press back. The sound in the room is steady. Your breath is yours again. You are the awareness that chooses frequency. The room tunes to you more than your words. Fold one pose into your relationships with a shared mini version. The family one page. 2 values, 1 big stone, 3 protectors, 1 recovery. Sunday evening, 15 minutes, all phones away. People think structure kills romance. Structure keeps resentment from doing it first. When everyone knows the week's edges, spirals have fewer dark places to hunt. Bring in your critic because it loves company too. In groups, critics disguise themselves as standards. Keep standards without scorn on the table. Name the method you're holding each other to. Clear names for variables. No decisions without an owner. Repair by end of day when tone goes hot. Methods, not moods. If your voice rises, boundary yourself with a breath and CCP. Anchor, align, invite, direct. I'm heated. Reality, we disagree on scope. Question, which constraint is truer, time or quality? Move, pick one. Short story on a stage without lights. You're about to speak to a small room that feels large to your chest. Threshold tools meet CCP. 30-second tilt at the door. Value word is clarity. Anchor before your first line. Align with a sentence. You have work to do. I'll give you 3 moves you can run today. Invite. As I talk, jot one place you'll use them. Direct at the end. At your desk, run 90-second room reset before your next meeting. People will remember 1 posture, 1 sentence, 1 question, 1 verb. That's enough to change a week. Check breath, 4 in, 4 hold, 6 out. On the hold, you can feel a small suspension like a quiet elevator. On the exhale, the ribs make space. That space is capacity. You practice to earn it. You will fail at this. You'll run hot in a room, forget to align, ask a messy question that invites confusion, not clarity. Use the restart clause in public. Let me restart that. Reality, we are late and tense. Here's the question that matters. Rooms exhale when someone chooses precision over pride. We add one last mechanism that makes one pose weatherproof. The contingency lane. On your page, under your big stone, write if storm then, and one alternative move that keeps you aligned when life tilts. If kid's sick, then ship outline instead of draft. If outage, then protect energy with 111. The brain loves pre-written detours. Spirals have fewer fangs when surprise doesn't equal doom. A small, tender story under warm lamplight. Your friend calls with a voice that sounds like rain. You had planned to write. 1 POS's North Star is connection this week. CCP flips from room to phone. Anchor 1 breath while you stare at the far wall. Align, I've got an hour and I'm here. Invite, do you want me to listen or think with you? Direct, connection first. I'll text you tomorrow morning to check in. You close the laptop. You hold the phone, no spiral. Just a choice that matches your page. Your micro drill for the next 24 hours is called Cascade and Page. In one setting today, run a full calm cascade, anchor, align, invite, direct, and write a one-sentence note afterward about what shifted. Then build or revise your one-page operating system for the next 5 days. Keep it humble. Read it each morning after your breath and before your browser. If you miss a day, restart without apology. The page is a lighthouse, not a judge. Before we close, feel temperature along your cheeks, cooler near the jaw, warmer around the nose where breath warms the air. Look at 2 corners of the room. Press thumb to knuckle. Whisper your North Star word for the week on an exhale: care, craft, clarity, courage, or connection. Feel how even a whisper can carry weight when your body believes it. You've trained personal control. Now you're shaping collective weather. Calm Cascade Protocol turns your breath into architecture other people can walk on. One-page operating system keeps your week honest when life auditions a dozen roles for you and you only want one. S4 shares enough of your insides that rooms can trust you. Contingency lanes keep storms from becoming stories about your worth. You are the awareness, not the emotion, and now you are also the field, the quiet pressure that tilts a room toward clarity without needing credit. This is almost the end of our work together, which is really the beginning of yours. One more chapter to weave the tools into a lifetime stance, and to leave you with a ritual you can return to when seasons change and you forget who you've become. For now, breathe once more, slow and steady. Your chest rises, your shoulders settle, the floor says hello. You're here. Rooms are better because you are. This is the part where you stop trying to remember everything and start becoming someone who can't forget who they are. You've built tools for heat, for thresholds, for repair, for rooms. Now we weave them into a stance you can carry for a season, a year, a life. We'll name the stance and give it bones. The framework is the Keystone Day, KD, one day designed so well it teaches the other 6. And we'll seal the lifetime pattern with the Seasons and Signals Review, SSR, a quarterly ritual that edits your operating system without drama. KD turns practice into identity by repetition. SSR turns identity into growth by reflection. We'll finish with a vow, not a grand oath, but a sentence you can say on an exhale when life gets loud and you need the adult you've trained to step forward. Start with the Keystone Day. Pick one day per week, doesn't matter which, where you run a full humane choreography: morning stance, one focus fence island, one gate and grade, one 90-second room reset in a live room, one relationship repair or appreciation, one 4-hour sweep and a night slide. That's the spine. A single day done with care teaches your nervous system that this is who we are when we remember. The other days borrow its posture, even when messy. KD isn't the perfect day. It's the day you can do during a real week, on purpose, that becomes your body's favorite script. Pause and sense the air on the thin skin inside your nostrils. Cool in, warm out. Feel the weight where your clothes touch your shoulders. The room has a sound you usually ignore, a low hum, a distant footstep. Name it once. That naming is the first move of a Keystone morning. See, touch, orient. You are not summoning motivation. You are starting the machine with gentle switches that never fail. A story at the border between survival and remembering. Keisha had 2 kids, a demanding manager, and a calendar that looked like a mosaic of other people's priorities. She chose Wednesdays for her Keystone Day because Wednesdays used to vanish. She wrote the spine on an index card in block letters and taped it to the inside of her laptop. Morning stance before screens, 4 breaths, stop, 1-3, angle reframe about the day's stone. A single 90-minute focus fence, headphones, phone away, draft ugly, a gate and grade before lunch, a noon reset when the morning wobbled, a 90-second room reset at the team check-in, One repair-ready script at home before dishes. Night slide with a single line to future her. The first Wednesday felt like acting. The third felt like home. On Thursdays, when chaos returned, her body still reached for the hinge and the breath. Fridays, she found herself writing evidence. Ran KD yesterday, a sentence that carried more weight than any to-do list checked. KD needs an engine, so we'll install one, the compass breath. It's 4 breaths with 4 words: care, craft, clarity, courage, then connection rides the long exhale. Inhale and whisper care, inhale and whisper craft, inhale and whisper clarity, inhale and whisper courage. On the final exhale, whisper connection and feel your ribs soften. Those words are not magic, they're priorities you've rehearsed. On Keystone mornings, you do the compass breath before you choose your single target. Your reticular activating system hears the words and looks for places to spend them. Sensation beat. Place a hand on your sternum and one on your abdomen. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. On the exhale, feel your palms ride your own breath. If your jaw wants to help, let it soften by a millimeter. Your shoulders drop a breadcrumb. Gravity does some of the work you used to do with willpower. Now the seasons and signals review. Every quarter, 4 times a year, you'll take 90 minutes to look backward with kindness and forward with design. SSR has 5 questions and 2 edits. The questions: what signals did my body send most often? Which tools actually ran? Where did spirals still find me? What boundaries held and which leaked? Which value was starved? The edits: retire one method you don't use and promote one to default. Your nervous system trusts rituals that shed old skin. You won't carry 30 protocols forever. You'll keep the 6 your life keeps asking for and let the rest be available, not mandatory. In a small apartment that smelled faintly of citrus cleaner and toast, Vic ran his first SSR. Signals: jaw tension at noon, breath high before presentations, eyes narrow at night. Tools used: stop, sip, 3-angle, focus, fence, 4R leaks, late night scroll, overpromising after 4 p.m. starved value, connection, the kind that isn't a meeting. Edits: retire the 2-minute groove for evenings, it wasn't landing, promote night slide and the 1-breath boundary to default. He adjusted his 1-page OS to show connection as North Star in April, wrote 3 BAB phrases for after 4 requests, and set a gate and grade twice daily. The next quarter's ledger shifted from sludge to shape, not perfect, human with a spine. Feel the cool along your cheeks compared to the warmth near your nose where exhale diffuses. Hear a background sound you'd normally ignore. These small anchors are how you keep SSR from becoming a performance review. You are not grading yourself. You are updating a map you actually walk. Identity is simply what you practice enough times that your body predicts it. To harden the identity you've been rehearsing, we use the identity stack. It has 3 sentences that you only say after behavior, never before. I'm the kind of person who starts again. I'm the kind of person who protects mornings. I'm the kind of person who repairs quickly. Each time you run SRL or 4R or CCP, you say one of these in a whisper. Your brain loves evidence. You're labeling it. Over a season, you won't have to say the sentences aloud. Your breath and posture will say them first. A short story from the edge of a hotel hallway, carpet patterned like static. Saul was about to pitch a room that made his mouth dry. He had no heroic speech, only practice. 30-second tilt in the doorway, eyes to horizon, shoulders down, 446 value word craft. He ran stop as he stepped into the room. He aligned invited, directed in miniature. We have 10 minutes. I'll give you 3 ways to reduce risk. He left with a follow-up, not a signature. In the elevator, He pressed thumb to knuckle and whispered, "I'm the kind of person who opens cleanly. Identity by behavior, not by hope." Sensation beat. The skin inside your wrist is cool. If you turn your palm up, gravity makes itself known in a soft pull. Your tongue resting low widens the breath. Small mechanics, large returns. We'll add one closing ritual that binds everything without making you a monk, the 7-word benediction. At the end of a Keystone day, of a quarter, of a year, you say one line that consecrates the practice, small, specific, now, repeat until it's you. Or calm is capacity, capacity chooses wisely. Or whatever line your mouth already knows. 7 words so your breath can carry them easily. Benedictions make memory stick. Because life will ask more than self-control from you, we'll give you one ethic that makes these tools generous, the double win test. Before you deploy a boundary, a plan, a cascade, ask, what's the win for me and for the field? Double wins are not always available, but looking for them keeps you from turning craft into control. No to Sunday emails so I can show up Monday clear. Scope cut that protects quality and trust. Rest now so I can give well later. If at least one side gets dignity and the other gets honesty, you've passed. Here's how a Keystone day looks at full size. Dawn is gray, a thin stripe at the window. You sit before screens and run compass, breath, care, craft, clarity, courage, connection on the exhale. You see touch, orient. You outline one focus fence target in a sentence. You gate inputs and grade when done. At midday, you run a noon reset, sip, window widen, one micro action. In the afternoon, you run a 90-second room reset before a spicy call, anchor, align, invite, direct. You carry one breath, boundary language into a request. You send one repair before dinner if a tone went hot. After dishes, you use the doorframe question to avoid a tab tornado. Unite slide with one sentence to future you. First move tomorrow, ask for criteria. You say the 7-word benediction, press thumb to knuckle, and let sleep find you. Wednesday taught your body a story, we choose. Sensation beat. Taste your mouth, coffee, mint, neutral. Feel the chair under your thighs, the small crescent of pressure where bone meets cushion. The air on your forearms might be cooler than on your upper arms. These are coordinates. When memory fades, coordinates guide you home. There will be winters, grief, illness, layoffs, babies, moves. In winter, KD shrinks to bare choreography and SSR becomes warmth, not critique. You run 111, you protect sleep like a lighthouse, you measure success by restarts, not throughput. You speak to yourself with coaching tone, not scorn. You ask for help early and often. You let your map be small. Identity, even then, I'm the kind of person who tells the truth of the season. Tools aren't a religion, they're a raft. Rafts are allowed to be simple when waves are high. There will be summers. Ease, momentum, the feeling of breath arriving without being summoned. In summer, resist the urge to skip rituals, use the ease to strengthen grooves, longer focus fences, more generous cascades, deeper repairs, more joyful connection. Put surplus energy into architecture, not into more speed. Speed without structure feeds spirals later. Structure with joy builds stamina. Sensation beat. Close your eyes if it's safe and listen for the farthest sound you can hear. Could be a car, a bird, a neighbor's laugh, a refrigerator hum that sounds like a distant sea. Open your eyes and take in 2 corners. Wide eyes are signals of safety. Safety invites craft. We finish with a vow you can keep. It's called the one-breath vow. It has 3 parts on a single exhale. I'll notice, I'll name, I'll choose. Notice is your sensory anchor. Name is your language stem. I'm having the thought that choose is your smallest wise move now. You will break this vow 100 times. You'll keep it 1,000 more. A lifetime is built from kept vows you can carry on one breath. A story to set the vow inside a day you don't get to rewrite. You wake at 3:17 a.m., the hour when shadows audition as facts. A memory plays the embarrassing line from the meeting. Your chest goes hollow. One breath vow, notice, cool air at your nostrils. Name, I'm having the thought that I blew it. Choose, write one line on the paper by the bed. Send clean summary at 9. You roll, place one hand on your heart, breathe 4-4-6, and say 7 words. Small, specific, now repeat until it's you. Morning arrives anyway. You send the summary. You repair if needed. You walk, you work, you love. You are not the spiral. You are the person who noticed, named, and chose. Sensation beat to seal this work. Press thumb to knuckle. Feel warmth through fabric at your sternum. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. On the exhale, let your shoulders fall a breadcrumb. Say the identity sentence that now belongs to you because you've earned it with behavior, not bravado. I am the awareness, not the emotion. And one more, softer and just as true. I am the person who starts again. Now go live a Keystone day. Run a seasons and signals review when the calendar turns. Keep the one breath vow. Tape your phrases where your hand can find them. Teach the room by regulating you. When you forget, begin again. That is not failure. That is the practice. And practice becomes a life.